Good evening, and welcome to the October 17th West Milford Board of Education meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First, I'd like to ask that you respect a moment of silence. I'd also ask that you remember the family and friends of Miss Diane Erickson, who touched the hearts of so many West Milford students during her 32 years as an educator here, as a school counselor and a math teacher for our district. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, a public notice of this meeting has been sent to board members, all district schools, town hall, the county superintendent's office, the board attorney, Keel Vision of Warwick, and West Milford TV 77, and posted in the administration building. Copies of the board meeting calendar resolution are provided to all local media, town hall, township library, and all district schools. Roll call, please, Mr. Schultz.
Mrs. Ricano?
Here.
Mr. Seidowitz? Mr. Lippy?
Here.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Here.
Mr. Guarino?
Here.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Here.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Here.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Here.
Mrs. Romeo?
Here. Thank you. First, we'll have Dr. Fenari's report.
Good evening, everyone. The very first thing that we have on our agenda this evening is recognition of our National Merit Student Awards, and I'd like to invite Mr. Stryans and Mrs. Johnson up to make those presentations. Students, when your name is called and you receive your certificate, if you could please come around the board, would love to shake your hands and congratulate you.
We are happy to report that a number of West Milford High School students earned academic honors from the College Board National Recognition Program. These programs celebrate students' hard work in high school and showcase their strong academic performance. The academic honors for rural area, Black, Indigenous, and/or Latino students are an opportunity for students to share their strong academic achievements with colleges and scholarship programs that are seeking to recruit viable diverse talent. The criteria for eligible students include a GPA of 3.5 or higher, TSAT, NM, SPP assessment scores that are within the top 10% of assessment takers in the state, or earn a score of 3 or higher on 2 or more AP tests in the 9th and 10th grade. And finally, they should attend a school in a rural area or a small town, or identify as African, African Black, Hispanic, American Latino, or Indigenous Native. We are proud to recognize the following students: earning the National Rural and Small Town Award, Logan Aston-Frio. Earning the National Hispanic Recognition Award, Carlos Bay. Earning the National Hispanic Recognition Award, Brandon Shea. Earning the National Rural and Small Town Award, Zoe Booth. The National Hispanic Recognition Award, Ethan Garcia. Earning the National Rural and Small Town Award, Jose Hernandez. Earning the National Rural and Small Town Award, Aiden Longley. Earning the National Rural and Small Town Award, Hosanna
it's not often that we have the opportunity to have students at our Board of Education meeting. We so much appreciate you being here and really want to congratulate you on your outstanding achievement. We had a little bit of a surprise at the board office today. We were visited by the Passaic County OEM, the Office of Emergency Management. They had the opportunity to come and use our high school facility for regional training of groups of first responders, and these included New Jersey State Police, the Passaic County Sheriff's Office, the Passaic County Office of Emergency Management, American Red Cross, the Federal Emergency Management Office Region 2, and a number of others. Two gentlemen from the Office of Emergency Management who visited were nothing but complimentary to our district, to our facilities, and to the custodial staff and our head of operations who really set things up and facilitated that program. We had 122 participants on a very rainy Saturday afternoon. And they wanted to come to present a plaque to the Board of Education, and I'm going to just read to you. It says, Passaic County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Richard H. Burdnick of Passaic County, New Jersey, presents the Certificate of Appreciation to the West Milford Board of Education in appreciation for assisting the Passaic County OEM with providing the use of the West Milford High School in support of the October 7th, 2023 statewide New Jersey CERT workshop. In witness thereof and sponsor has caused these presents to be signed, and on this the 7th day of October 2023. So this will be proudly displayed, and congratulations again to the district for continuing our tradition of partnership with not only community agencies, but now expanding to farther reaching. People have come here and felt the West Milford pride, and they will be back, I'm sure. So congratulations to the district. Okay, the next item on my superintendent's report is the HIB grade reports. Annually, schools go through a process where they grade themselves on a set of rating indicators that the state has provided, and each school, through their school safety and or culture teams, are required to evaluate an implementation of this program with the implementing the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights, and it's for a period from July 1st to June 30th of each year. They use a self-assessment tool that's provided to us by the state, and it has a number of elements in it, and each element has several indicators, and each of those are awarded points. So the schools have a maximum of 78 points that they can earn for themselves based on this rubric. The data that's submitted is also corroborated and backed up by data that we submit to the State Department through our county office, through the Student Safety Data System, findings through the QSEC monitorings, findings for investigations of complaints and non-compliance conducted by the NJDOE and other sources. So this is an opportunity in a first stage for each of our schools to look back on the past year and rate themselves based on this process. Later on in the year, I'll be giving a report that is the state takes this information and these ratings, and they evaluate our self-assessment, and they corroborate and or alter the numbers that we provide. So I'm going to read to you the school and the self-assessment. Now, this is not what the state gave us. This is what we gave ourselves at each of the schools based on last year's data. Apshua scored themselves as 76 out of 78 points. Maple Road, 78 out of 78 points. Marshall Hill, 75 out of 78 points. Paradise Knoll, 75 out of 78 points. Upper Greenwood Lake School, 76 out of 78 points. Westbrook School, 76 out of 78 points. Macoupin School, 74 of 78 points. And West Milford High School, 76 of 78 points. Again, I want to thank the administrators and your teams at each of your schools for going through this process. We do this on an annual basis to make sure that we're really doing what we're supposed to be doing as far as the implementation of the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. And once again, I'll be back at the end of the year with the state's verification. And once we do that, that information will then be posted on the website. So don't look for anything posted on the website just yet. That'll come later in the year. That concludes my portion of the agenda. And before I ask Mia to give her report, board members, do you have any questions for me? Okay. Mia, please.
Hello, everyone. We ended September with Homecoming Week, which was a major success. From September 26th through September 29th, West Milford students showed our pride by participating in Homecoming Spirit Week with fun events each day, ending with a beautifully black and gold decorated homecoming dance hosted by the Student Council and PTSO. The Fall Pep Rally was held on Friday the 13th. All the fall sports teams, the band, class council, color guard, cheerleaders, and student council did a great job raising the spirits for the Highlanders' big game against Sparta. Pictures are now up on the HighlanderEcho.com. The Week of Respect was held on October 2nd to October 6th. Monday we were blue to stop out bullying. Tuesday we were wear your favorite sports jerseys. Wednesday, we spread kindness with notes of gratitude for our teachers and staff and friends. Thursday, students wore tie-dye to keep the peace. And Friday was black and gold for Highlander Pride. West Milford High School hosted the SAT Saturday, October 7th. If a junior or senior has not signed up for the SATs and still needs to, they can sign up and register for December 2nd. The deadline is November 2nd. The test centers are in Butler and Wayne. Moving to other special events, seniors were given a chance to make their mark on West Milford High School by painting their parking spots with the PTSO. This started on October 15th, and will take place again on Sunday, October 22nd from 9 to 6. For more information, check the Class of 2024 Google Classroom, or have your seniors visit Ms. Petrosillo in room 123. Another big moment for the seniors is the painting of the senior wall. Due to the poor weather, there is no set dates to paint the wall. They should listen to announcements and go out whenever they can paint. Another one for the seniors, get those memorable lines in for the yearbook. Senior quotes are due by Halloween. West Milford High School held the PSATs for sophomores and juniors on the 10/11. Scores should be out the last week of October, roughly. For the first year ever, West Milford High School celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month the week of October 9th to October 13th. Each day was something different and celebrated the beautiful Hispanic culture and history. This week is School Violence Week. We are spreading awareness against violence in any form and pledge to be safe and do no harm. For underclassmen and faculty members, picture retakes will be in the Upper Media Center from 9 to 12 on October 18th. The last week of October is Red Ribbon Week, where we spread our mission to keep kids drug-free. Spooktacular will be here before you know it. An annual Spooktacular or Trunk or Treat event will take place on Saturday, October 28th from 4 to 8. This will be open to the entire community, so come out with your trunk or treat to visit Macapin's haunted hallways. Tickets are available on the district website, wmtps.org. We are collecting candy donations at the high school. Please be labeled Student Council or at the PAL. We also are still looking for trunks to participate, so anyone is welcome to host a trunk or hand out candy. More events in the works for next month. This year's fall play is Radium Girls. The show, which is based on a true story, takes place in the 1920s as the painting of luminous watches causes and dio painters to become sick. Come to see the show on Friday, November 17th or Saturday, November 18th. Tickets will be purchased ahead of time or at the door.
Thank you, Mia. Before I introduce Mr. Novak and our district administrators, I'd like to tell our students that you do not have to stay. Now would be your time to sneak out, because I'm sure you might rather be doing homework. I'm not sure. But you're always welcome, and we congratulate you. We're very proud of you, and keep up the good work. And now, Mr. Novak and his report.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Romeo. At this time, I'd like to invite the board to reorganize because we are going to have the presentation behind us. We have the first 2 rows available if you need a better spot to view. In our setup, I don't know the best place for you guys to hang out until you're... Okay. All right, before we begin, I just want to say, thank you to all of our administrators who've come out tonight to be part of this. This is the first time we've done this in a long time where there's been more than just a few of us presenting our test results and action plans. So I'm trying to address the board. It's not the best spot. They can only hear this. I think right now this is being heard on live stream, but it's not being heard internally. So I'll try to speak loud enough.
You're fine,
So tonight we're doing things a little bit differently than we've done in the past. We are going to present our test results for the 2023 school year. We are also going to roll right into our district action plans at each level, which is why we have our administrative team. Our administrative team have their fingerprints in all that we do, especially the action plans and how to move our district forward. So before we begin, I just want to introduce all of them that are here. We have our elementary team, Dr. Jared Fowler, Mrs. Jed Miller, Mr. Bill Kane, Mr. Patrick O'Donnell, Dr. Dana Swartz. You got them all? Okay, we have our... Our time too, we have 48 slides. I also like to introduce our middle school principal and district testing coordinator, K-8, Dr. Matlos. High school principal, Mr. Matt Shrines. And our district supervisor of humanities, English language arts, music and art, Mrs. Sharon West. Supervisor of Guidance and World Language, and also High School Testing Coordinator, Mrs. Karen Johnson. So we're going to, Dr. Mattos and Mrs. Johnson are going to, with myself, are going to go through our testing results. One of the things we want to also talk about differently, a little bit differently this year, is in the past we present results, and then we wouldn't talk about it again. I wouldn't hear questions, tell you we only like to ask questions, and then we would continue that discussion. That's something that we want to change. That's something that we want to talk about. We want test results and not just the results, the work that goes into this process to be living and breathing and part of what we do. As you're going to see in our action plans, that this is truly a labor of love. And the things that we have done, I believe this year, multiple years building up to it, you're going to see more involved in our plan this year than you've seen in the past. Truly a team effort, which is why I'm excited to see our administrative team here. I'm going to stop at the intro so we can get into the slides. Dr. Matlos. You got a one.
All right, thank you, Mr. Novak. Okay, here we go. So welcome to the testing presentation for 2023. Mrs. Johnson and I will be going back and forth quite a bit. Please bear with us. All right, so first let's get a brief history on NJSLA, formerly known as HESA, then eventually, of course, replaced in 2015 when New Jersey adopted PARC and the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. Then in 2019, of course, this was reconfigured to NJSLA, aka the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment. There were no tests administered in 2020 or 2021 due to the pandemic. And of course, now we are in May of 2023, the testing from May of 2023. Again, our testing was ELA grades 3 to 9, math grades 3 to 8, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, science grades 5, 8, and 11. All right, that's all I got for you. Thank you very much, Went for it. Unfortunately, I was not able to make a video for this presentation. All right, so how do you define ELA math performance levels? Level 1 did not yet meet expectations. So the scale score you see next to, of course, each level, the 650 to 699, of course, the exceeding expectations, 810 to 850. So that comes home in the form of an individual student report. So each student will receive, as long as they took, of course, the ELA, their mathematics assessment, they will get an ISR, again, individual student report, with that scale score attached. All right, and then eventually, as a parent, we'll get to this later in the presentation, you have the ability to go out to a parent portal through the state and actually check out not just your scores from 2023, but also looking at scores from previous years. They actually give you the data for that parent portal of how your child did in previous, obviously, NGSLA format. So, again, a cool thing to have, obviously, as a parent. The same thing, of course, for science. Again, this is only grades 5, 8, and 11. The same thing in terms of the proficiency versus below proficiency. Again, that 100 to 149, it does break out a little differently as you get to level 3. You can see with the 200 to 242, 200 to 230, grades 5 and 8, that, of course, being right there. And level 4, again, that advanced proficiency, again, getting that 300. You're wondering, am I going to go line by line? No. Instead, we're going to look at the actual changes from, again, 2022 and 2023. Again, those crucial data points from grades 3 to 8. I'll start here. If you look on the right-hand side, right there, the change in level 1 and 2 from 2022 to 2023, the minus 3.1. Again, we're taking that level 1 data, right, on this side here, and again, that level 2 data, and you're getting the minus 3.1. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You're asking yourselves. But again, keep in mind, level 1, you're below expectations. Level 2, you're sort of approaching into that level 3. So we do want to decrease that category. But then when you get to level 4 and 5, okay, 22, 23, same thing, minus 6.9. Our goal, of course, is to increase that category again. In terms of that level 3, they're right smack in the middle, right? We're essentially taking students in the middle portion of level 3, and we're trying to move them over, just like we're trying to move level 1, trying to move level 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. We would love to have everyone in level 5. Realistically speaking, level 4 is a great place to be. Right.
So in ELA, like Greg had said, the first 1 and 2 levels went down, which is what we want to see, and there was a really significant increase in the level 4, 5, the students passing went by 12%, which is again what we want to see.
The same thing for 2022, 2023 in terms of the mathematics administration. You'll see the same thing. Bigger difference here is you're now getting into Algebra 1 and Geometry, which again, you have that mixture with middle school and high school students taking Algebra 1 and Geometry. So again, those numbers will be a little different, especially towards the bottom down here. But again, those changes, you want to see those decreases in the level 1, level 2 categories. Level 4 and 5, we love seeing the plus sign because that's exactly where we want our students to be overall. So again, you're looking at those changes again from 2022 to 2023 for the mathematics.
Okay, so the math in high school, Algebra 1, you can see that there is a slight increase in the level 1 and 2 scores, which is not necessarily what we want to say. But the 4 and 5 scores remain kind of static, which is okay. At least we didn't drop back there, so that's a good thing. In geometry, we can see both a reduction in the level 1 and 2 scores and a really strong increase in the level 4 and 5 scores. Algebra shows us the opposite, but there are 2 things to note about algebra. Number 1, there's double the number of students taking the test of taking algebra in 2023 as compared to 2022. So that doubling of the number of students does impact where the scores fall. Additionally, this is a group of students who, in 2021, were taking Algebra 1, which is the foundation for Algebra 2. We all know that that was our COVID hybrid year. So you can see that there was a definite impact on that in their Algebra 2 results. So we can hope to see that switch back again next year.
I would like to take that forward. I just want to comment on algebra geometry at the middle school and algebra geometry at high school. One of the parts here you see, I don't want to get too far into what our action plans are, but one of the things we've been seeing in our data over the years is that there's been a very large difference in the type of algebra or the way algebra is being taught at the middle school and the way it's being taught at the high school. So one of the things that I presented last month when we talked about our work with Conquer Math was that we spent significant time this summer working on course revisions so that Algebra 1 is Algebra 1, so that the coursework and the scope and sequence, the standards being covered at Algebra 1 at the middle school level are those same standards that are being covered at Algebra 1 at the high school. Same thing for geometry. So we've had that, and you referred to that, those cohorts of students who endured the pandemic, whether it was 7th or 8th grade or 6th and 7th grade as pre-algebra, Algebra 1, or 6th or 7th grade math students, there was significant loss in prerequisite learning. I know we did a lot of what the state did in terms of moving students forward, so students went to the next level. In hindsight, we don't know. I feel like the data shows that that may have not been the best move statewide or nationwide with the loss of prerequisite skills. So that's what we're seeing in our groups that are taking these assessments now is the culmination of significant loss of prerequisite skills for that coursework. So those are going to be, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about our action plans.
All right, let's not forget, of course, about science as well. Grade 5, again, performing actually really well. You see that later on. Those percentages are up on screen for you. Plus 2.7, level 1, 2, and plus 2.8, which again, for the first time, I believe grade 5 is actually above state average for science, which is a cool thing to see this year. Grade 8, plus 3.3, level 1, and level 2, and 3.4, of course, high school, and 4, and plus 5.5. All right, so how many students tested in 2022 and 2023? Just to give you a comparison for the difference with numbers, grade 3 all the way, of course, to grade 9. You can see the numbers between the 2 years, 210, 192 in grade 3, and obviously, of course, grade 9, 210 and 251. Again, these are just grade 9 students, not to confuse you with the mixture of classes with mathematics. And these are these numbers between the 2 years. Real. Mathematics, same thing. All right, so 11, 192 for grade 3, and jumping, of course, down to grade 8 in this case, 165, 171, out to 1, 275, 245. So again, keep in mind that students are taking, there's a chance a student may have taken just the ELA assessment versus the math. If they were out sick, for example, they could not take the mathematics. They can make the makeup portion of those numbers will not be identical for that reason. Possibility that there could have been a refusal as well for a test that would change the number 2 overall. So for example, if you look at grade 3 in 2022, the 210, 211, there's a great chance that something like that happened with an illness or getting a refusal. High school, pretty self-explanatory as well.
The only difference I would point out is if you tally those numbers, the numbers here total 29, whereas ELA it was 41. That's simply because during retesting, we retested ELA first, we tested ELA first. By the time we got to math, not all the students were willing to come again for another retest for the days that they missed. So we missed some of the students on the retest of NJFLA. Hence the difference.
Can you comment on why we test so few students now in Algebra 2?
Can you say that again?
Can you comment on why we have such so few students testing for Algebra 2?
Because it's 9th grade students. It's not the entire student body. It's only the 9th grade students who are in Algebra 2 that test Algebra 2. Likewise, it's only the 9th grade students in geometry who test geometry.
Is this test a requirement for graduation?
No.
Okay, that's why students are able to refuse it? I
reason some students aren't pushing data by the
And also to piggyback on that, if a student refuses to, please keep in mind that that will hurt the school score, the district score overall, so refusals do count as a 0 for the school. So that's the one thing we don't want to advertise. Yeah, go ahead and refuse. No, don't refuse, because that is going to screw up stuff big time. So please, 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 take the NJSLA. Again, this is helping us out. Again, your district, your community help out in the long run. We're still on student testing, of course, with science as well. Again, only grades 5, 8, 11, 236, 205, the difference of 31, and then only grade 11, 238 to 233. Okay, so now we get into just the comparisons of, again, ELA in this sense, 2022-23, in terms of just levels 1 and 2. And again, I'm not going to go line by line, which is showing you the actual just differences here, taking just grade 3, level 1, 2022, 12.4, comparison to the state at 20.1, so that is a good thing. 13.5 versus 20.7, again, a good thing. Level 2, 16.2, a little bit above the state at 15.5, and of course level 2, 12.0, under the state, of course, at 14.9. So again, being where exactly we want to be, state average for that.
That's good.
Of course, high school.
In level 9, sorry, grade 9, level 1, we saw a little bit of improvement with fewer students earning a 1, moving from 2022 to 2023. And when it got to level 2, we remained about the same, which is very similar to what the state did. There wasn't much change in either our percentage or the state. We lagged behind a little bit, but it's not a big number that we're lagging behind.
Of course, the scores of levels 3 and 4, again, 3 approaching into a 4 is exactly where we want to be. So with going, let's go with grade 4 this time. Why not? Grade 4, 20.7, above the state average of 21.9, 28.8, and 20.3, above the state average of 21.3. And then same thing for level 4, 40%. Above state average of 35.3, and level 4, 41 at 36.5. So again, we do want our students obviously to be above level 3, but again, that's approaching level 4. And we had several students that were so close to getting to level 4 as well. If they move over this year to the 2024 test, you're going to see a completely different state average for our district. Where's the high school?
In level 3, we did see some improvement with fewer students earning in the level 3 range. We are still lagging behind the state average a little bit there. However, level 4, this is where we saw a strong mark of improvement, and we are surpassing the state in the numbers of students passing ELA grade 9.
And then level 5 exceeding expectations. All right, so let's go grade 5 this time. Grade 5, 5.1 in 2022. Under the state average of 9.2, and then 5.5, and then nearly 9.9 in 2023. So again, just comparing level 5 2023, above the state average, below. Of course, below at this point for level 5. Again, those are the scores in the 800s getting into that 50 category.
And for ELA level 5, we are below the state average for those, but seeing that our level 4 went up so much, then it will be that next big move is from level 4 to 5.
All right, just some data notes as we're going through just grade 8. Some students in grade 8 participated in the Algebra 1 assessment in place of the 8th grade math assessment. Thus, math 8 outcomes are not representative of grade 8 performance as a whole. Algebra 1, 2, and geometry data. Students in grades 11 and 12 are not included. And again, percentages may not score 100, obviously due to rounding. And once again, just a comparison now with the mathematics percentages, just the same thing, just like ELA, levels 1 and 2. And we're just going to keep going down to this. 3 to 6 we'll go with this time. Level 1, 9.1, state average 15.3, 6.9 in 2023, and of course a 14.6. Once again, good thing to be under the state average. 25.2 for level 2, 24.9, and then 25.4 and 23.
In math, in Algebra 1, we didn't see that much from 22 to 23. We brought the level ones down a little bit, but the state did as well, so we're kind of chasing them. In level 2, you can see that we increased that number a little bit, but the state did as well. We just did it a little bit more than they did. So we need to watch out for one and work on that, get those numbers in a little bit better spot. Oh, sorry, let me finish. I forgot. I still have geometry. This is where we saw really some good numbers against the state. We brought it down only a little, but we're well below the state for level 1. And then level 2, you can see that we fell back a little bit on that, which we want to fall back on that, because we want that number to get better. And we are close to the state now on level 2.
All right, comparisons of our 2022-23 administrations of level 3 and 4 within mathematics now. All right, so I think I did 6 last time, let's go to 7. Level 3, 41.6, above the state average at 31.5. And 2023, 39.1, 30.7. And then we get to level 4, 20.8, 28.9. Level 4 in 2023, 9.8, 29. So again, these numbers here, students have essentially quote unquote passed the MJSLA in this category, and this right here would be your state average.
Can you go back a slide?
Okay, sure.
I just wanted to note down here too, in 2022, our level 1 was 9% of our students. In 2023, level 1 went down to 0. So that was nice. I didn't pick that up before. We moved those students up to level 2, so our level 2 did go up, while some of those students went up to 2, meaning that percentage of students, also a small percent dropped down. But again, this is where we increase those numbers of students. So then if you go on to 3, 4, next slide. So in algebra, again in level 3, you can see that we remain somewhat steady. In level 4, we also remain somewhat steady. Geometry, there was a drop in level 3, which we want to see, and then that large increase in level 4, which is a really positive thing. We're not quite at the state level there, but we're coming close. In algebra, we did have that increase in level 3, but again, some of those students might have been moving up from what might have been a level 2. And then in the level 4, we did have a significant drop back, but if you look at us compared to the state, we are not that far behind the state. That's a good thing.
Then we have the spring 2022-23 percentages of level 5. This is just level 5, again, exceeding those expectations past, of course, level 4. So let's do it. So again, in terms of the 5 categories here, a lot of you do. You can see that 2023, 9.4, 5.0, 5.0, 3.0, and then grades 7, 8, optical and geometry are 0 versus the state average is 11.9, all the way down, of course, to 9.5 in geometry.
So there's not much to address here. Into the realm of the 5, we need to get there. We haven't yet, but we can see that in some of the areas we're seeing improvement. So the goal will be to break ground into the level 5.
And then just combining level 4 and level 5, we get to that 750 to 850 range. So again, this would be where most, I would say, the public especially is interested in these figures. So right now, looking at grades 3 through 8, my piece here, we're looking at 2023, 53 over 45, 52, 44, 40 over 40.5 over 40. All right, then you start to see a drop, 31, 34, 9.8, 33.8, 15.2, 17.8, 27, 35, 36, and 50.5. Again, comparing that, obviously, with the data from 2022, you can see, obviously, you'll see the growth. You'll see the growth of the state as well. So, again, this would be for meeting and, of course, exceeding expectations.
So the same in the high school, algebra 1, geometry, and algebra 2. Because we don't have the 5s, our scores don't change very much in here. Where we are approaching in geometry and we are approaching in algebra 2, we have a little bit of work to do in our program.
Receiving expectations level 4 and 5 between 2022 and 2023. Sticking with our 2023, 41.7 to 41.9 rate, 48.2, 51.3, and state average on rate, 59.8, 53.3, grade 5, 43, that's 49, 32.9, 55.7, and 49.6 to 55.3.
And in ELA, you can see we talked about the fact that there was an increase in level 4 and 5, and we are very close to meeting the state. We're only lagging behind by 1.8%, so that's a very good number for us.
To add on to Mrs. Dwyer's question, she said this is a graduation requirement, and it's not what the ending GPA is.
The engine
And
GPA
this
is,
is practice for that.
Yes,
Right? So
exactly.
it's assessing the same skills. So we want every student to take this so that they can pass the graduation requirement, right?
so that I made a statement before about pushing these students up because they are in level 3, getting them to a level 4. That's what's in my head because I'm thinking NJGPA.
Right.
We need to continue to strengthen their scores and their skills so that we can get the majority, if not all of our students passing that test.
Okay, so this actually is a very unique chart, actually going back to 2016 all the way to 2023. And Mr. Novak will jump in on this one as well. You're actually looking at our free reduced lunch students, section 504, our English language learners, special education, and general education. All right, if you look at the kind of graph, you'll notice this is going to be, these are all grades, this would be of course 3 through 9. For ELA, this is proficient and advanced in terms of ELA, so that's what we represent, only again dating back to 2016, 2023. And then this slide will give you the same concept within ELA, and then you can now see the number of students from 2021 all the way to 2023.
It's very hard to see.
Here's the walkie.
So rating, I will not sing, but in terms, I'll at least talk while we're trying to get that done. The free reduced lunch category, for example, at the top, they have 4% seating, 30%.
Ken? Turn off the middle.
Our meeting standard increased by 2%, 30 to 32. So I think the beauty of each category, pre-reduced, especially in English language learners, special education, you're actually seeing a growth in each category. And I think what I really do like seeing here is actually the English language learner category. If you look at that, going from 36% to 43% is pretty impressive, especially in approach.
Just a little, I guess, while we're waiting for the lights. Just a little overview of what you're looking at. So if we go back to, the majority of the slides, pretty much all the slides that you've seen, what you're comparing from year to year is same grade, not same students. So when Dr. Matlos is presenting grade 3 from 41.7, from level 5, or level 4, 48.6% to 42.4, this group of students is actually here. Okay, so this is grade 3, and then, no, I'm sorry, that's over here. So the grade 3 is now grade 4. So the numbers you're looking at are we present this is the state template that we use. Dr. Finori and I are sharing with the board on Friday. As I mentioned, this is our first night of talking about this. This slide that Dr. Matlos presented, we took these from our Lincoln Navigator reports. These are reports I've been talking about for years. We're sharing this complete packet with the board on Friday, where you'll be able to see what we call cohort analysis. That's really the strength of what we do and the strength of what we do when we work at our action plans. So in this presentation, you haven't seen comparison of same students different grade. We've seen a comparison of same grade, different students. So when you'll see these navigator reports, you'll see what the actual growth looks like in the individual students, because that's really the power of what we do, and then how the action plans are going to create that change and have that impact. In essence of time, we're presenting the state template and what we're going to present. We added action plans to the end, but this is just the starting point of the conversation for what you're going to see moving forward.
And that's going to be a hard copy in our packets?
I'd like to share a PDF if possible. It's a, if you want paper, we can make sure you have paper.
I know that we really need to.
I have to find a Kinko. Is there a Kinko?
It's very hard to do that for maybe something. I'm going to do that too.
So we'll get a roll call of who wants PDF and who wants paper. We can do that. So what you'll see in that document, that's where we pulled some of these graphics from, just to demonstrate some of our individual subgroups, some of our cohorts. I know there was a question from the board to see a longer period of data, not just 22, 23. I would love to share that, because when you look at the longitudinal data in Lincoln, when you look at the growth that we had from 2015 to 2019, it was significant. We made significant gains. We were celebrating our work when we began with Lincoln and the process of really looking at data and looking at data teams. Then we were derailed with the pandemic, and we're in that process. So we have 2 years of data that we're able to present tonight. Efficiency by program, I'm going back, right? Did you do math yet?
I get the same thing here with free reduced, section 504, ELL, English language learners, special education, and of course, gen ed as well. And this course would be for 2021 to 2022, 22 to 23 school years for each category. So again, just focusing on the English language learner category as well. So if you take the 25% non-meaning, again, a year later, we're at 37%, 56%, versus 47%, 19% approaching 11%, and then 5% actually in 2023, we're meeting All right, so we now get into how did we do against standards? So some achievements here. Elementary mathematics actually is probably the brightest spot we talk about tonight. And if you look at math, of course, in grade 3, 53.6% average in terms of that meeting and exceeding expectations to the 45.9 of the state average. Grade 4, the same thing, 52.7, 44.4. And then math grade 5, 40.5 to the 40.0. And of course, science too. That actually is very impressive. It's the first time our grade 5 students have exceeded in the science assessment at 28.5 versus at 26.8. And again, all credit to, and I have to give a shout out to the entire district testing team, because one thing we did, especially in the elementary testing portion of May, is we staggered our schedule. So instead of having our kids test every single day, ELA, mathematics, science, and done with testing done, all right, now moving back and course back to our general classroom instruction, we staggered to the point where it was ELA 1 week, off week. Math then took place, off week, and then we tested science. We purposely have actually put mathematics at the end of that assessment in May, just to give our teachers more time to get ready, not just for NGSLA, but just more of that content, especially as they're going to the Conquer Math trainings throughout the year last year. So this made sense. This is working as these scores continue to increase year after year. And last year, just to bring that up, that presentation that we did, where we took our Lincoln scores and we actually predicted our scores. Yeah, these are actually within maybe 1 or 2 points of what Lincoln predicted back in January. We got those scores. Again, those predictors gave us back in January 2023 for that May assessment, which is kind of neat.
Also of note with grade 3 and 4, to me this is one of the, I guess, the most exciting parts of the slide. As many of you know, I talk about it often. We're going to talk about it in action plans. Here's a quiz time. What grades did we start Conquer Math training in? 3 and 4. So grades 3 and 4 started that process a full year earlier than everybody else. So we started Conquer Math training with grade 3 and 4 2 years ago. Last year was their second year in the training for standards-based best practice instruction. And then these are our results in grades 3 and 4. Grade 5 to me stands out because the students who were in grade 5 experienced that Conquer Math process, a deeper adherence to our NJSLA standards of the Conquer Math process that you all saw and witnessed last month in our presentation. So to me, this was very exciting. I know it kind of looks like, well, you picked out the best number and you put it on the slide with a lightsaber. Well, yeah, we did. But to me, it's more exciting because it's the culmination of a lot of hard work that goes beyond this room. And that's why I'm glad the administrators are here, because this wasn't just an administrative idea of bringing in something like Lincoln. This was sending our entire 3rd and 4th grade staff to a training facility, committing to change, and then following through on it. So that's why I like to point that out and be very proud of it.
Dan, you said you used Lincoln to project where you'd be with the percentages on this. Those students that didn't take the assessments, would they have increased scores, decreased scores? How would they have done, do we know? Based on Lincoln.
The students who didn't take NJSLA?
Who did not take.
So we have that data in the absence of an NJSLA score. We don't have that comparison. We know how they scored as cohorts. We know what the predictive data gave us, and as Dr. Matlos mentioned, it was pretty close. So we have that data, and they fell within this range.
What I'm asking though is, you had mentioned that there were several students or groups of students who did not take the testing. If those students had taken the testing, would it have helped or would it have pushed it down? Are we missing, to use a phrase, the honor students, or are we missing the kids who are in the...
I don't believe there's a pattern. I don't believe there's a pattern that I'm aware of that we've identified to the nature or the background of the student who opts out or doesn't make. Sometimes they're just sick. Sometimes it's vacation at that time. Sometimes it's not coming in for the makeup. Sometimes it's, we had a lot of opting out following, nobody wants to hear pandemic word anymore. We had a lot of opt-outs following that because it was, returning to school and then families not wanting to sit through standardized testing. So we had a lot of that type of thing. The last time we had that, I guess that level of opt-out was when we first had Park, and there was, significant, national movements and that type of thing that we saw happen here as well. So again, to answer your question, I don't think there was a pattern. It's something we can look at, but I don't believe there was.
All right, can I have a follow-up question then? Do we know roughly how many students opted out? Or didn't take the test for whatever reason, whether it's opt-out, vacation, sick?
Single digits.
Single digit percentage.
District-wide?
Grade-wise, per grade.
Well, those who took obviously it was in first grade, but, okay.
And we can share that number. We have that. We just don't have it prepared for a slide tonight, and I don't know the numbers offhand. But we have that data, and we can certainly share that with the board when we share the cohort analysis and some of the other more in-depth material.
Okay, thank you.
As we mentioned earlier, the growth in ELA versus the growth made by the state is impressive in the numbers of students passing, the percentage of students passing. In geometry, the same thing. We grew by 18.7%, whereas the state only grew by 6.5%. And in science, we also showed
resources. Again, will be available. I'm sure this presentation will eventually be on our website. Department assessments, of course, just a generic webpage by the NJDOE, just letting you know actually the whole entire schedule of assessments throughout the year by the state, what's mandated, what isn't. The parent portals I mentioned before, again, just giving you that opportunity to look at previous test scores through NJSLA. All you need is, of course, your ISR sheet that you just received back in September in terms of the code you have to put in for that portal. And the New Jersey Score Report Guide actually will break down each assessment for you. And actually in there, you'll find, again, which is very useful for a parent to actually see what the test looks like. What did your child take in previous years? What does a multiple choice test look like in mathematics versus ELA? Those passages they're reading, how, of course, they're answering those questions as well in science too. So those practice guides are there, not just for an educator, it's also for you, the parent, to check out. Again, from elementary, of course, all the way to high school.
Notably, there's not a notable achievement slide for the math students. And from my small evaluation, just seeing these numbers tonight, sitting here, I think our lowest scores across the whole board were for 7th grade, which is this year's current 8th grade. Just from what I can see. So my first question is, do 6th, 7th, and 8th graders test at the same time? They're testing different.
So they're, in terms of, they've tested last year, I've been told, with homeroom. The homeroom period, a double first was attached to it. So they're essentially testing at the same time. But in terms of the actual ELA mathematics piece, like those are being, of course, those are different times. In terms of dates.
No, yeah, the whole middle school test at the same time. They all test ELA on the same days. They all test math on the same days. So, as a parent, I could just say, I was confused on the schedule last year. I was upset with that it was changing. Communication is key. So this year, if you can let us know ahead of time what the schedule will be and when, then we can prepare our children to take this test. Also, as a parent, I was upset about Chromebooks. And please make sure that all your buildings have enough Chromebooks for all of your students that are testing that day. So that brings up the question for me, are 6th, 7th, and 8th graders all testing at the same time? Because if so, if it's the same time that we need some elementary schools, we might not have enough spare Chromebooks. So we want to look to split them. These are just ideas and things that I've thought up all year because I was upset about NJSLA testing last year. And I did speak last year to everyone and anyone that listened. So these are just ideas of mine moving forward for this year. And I know it's like a new team, so it's exciting to meet change and do new things. But as a parent, there were just some things that were bumps along the road that I would like in my own home to serve a great breakfast that day and do things. And I was very unfair,
So some of the things you're going to see in the action slides directly relate to the things that you've asked for.
Thank you.
So as I opened this presentation, we talked about this is the starting point for our discussion. In the past, it would be we talked about it here and we talked about it again next October. That's not how you raise test scores, and that's not how you move a district forward. So that's the discussions that we've had. It's very symbolic that we have our administrative team here tonight, and that's really the purpose of it, because this is an all-in moment for us in talking about culture and talking about how we change culture. Sorry, I'm smirking. We talk about culture today, so jog my memory.
I'm really excited. I bring up these things so that we know, because it is a new team, and that, we're not...
So anyway, sorry, you can jump in a minute. So we talked about those things. There's an SEL component to test taking. There are environmental items to test taking. Those are some things that we're going to make sure that conversation not only is taking place behind closed doors with administrators, but is brought to our staff and is brought to our families. Dr. Matlos and Mrs. Johnson and I are going to be recording a video to send out to everyone relatively soon where we share the testing discussion and why it's important for the community. So we've got a lot of great ideas to get this conversation into West Milford homes and not just at a board meeting. So that's something you'll see a flavor of throughout the action plans.
My last thing is, students with IEPs last year, if they needed extended time, had to come year before. And so this year is not like it was last year and the prior years. And I'm really excited, and I thank you guys for all of the work that you've put in, because there are so many things. But first, to start a test that needs extended time, and then to go through that second period of the morning, and then go to their regular classes, and then come back the next day and pick up on that test again is not ideal.
So the timeline that didn't happen, extended time happened on the same day last year. It was supposed to have happened on the same day. Even science, it would have happened that way. But let me explain the one piece that you spoke about, the schedule change. That was done in a sense proactively, even though it was done late stages in the game, to do exactly what the math teachers requested, which was give the students more time in math. So that schedule was changed around. It was put out, but I'm sure that there was some confusion added to that. So I understand that. We also last year pulled out the algebra students and the geometry students, which made it different. And like we tried to make tweaks that would make it a little bit better, but I know that Mr. Matlos and I have already been in conversation about planning for this coming year and how to fix the things that were hiccups for us. So we understand, and we'll take the things that you shared into account as well.
Dan, in what you were saying that you're going to, this is not the last we're going to discuss this, that there's going to be an ongoing conversation with the administrator. Is there going to be like updates to the board letting us know
I believe, and speaking with Dr. Fenari and the administrative team, that there's a place for this discussion on every education committee going forward, just in terms of update, check in, where we're at, what we've accomplished, ideas, what do we hear from the community, that sort of thing. An open, ongoing discussion. This isn't just about administrators with ideas. This is about the whole community. So yes, to answer your question.
So that this way we're going to know about the action plan, and we're going to.
Right, so you're going to receive this. You're going to receive this lengthy Lincoln Navigator report that has far more information than we're presenting here tonight. I'm assuming that after reviewing that we're going to be talking at Education Committee, and then potentially bring that discussion to the whole board through, whatever other processes we have.
All right, part two.
We need a break? All right. Elementary principals, if you want to...
We'll get a short break as I hobble over to the microphone. Principals, you're at the work again.
We're crossing the
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. I'm proud to be speaking on behalf of my elementary principal colleagues, who I just moved across the room again. We are moving into some slides that we will share our action plans for improving the scores that we just took a look at together. We're going to start with mathematics, and under the direction of the Director of Education, the district teachers are continuing in their standard-based best practice professional development with Nancy Schultz, with Conver Math. We are in our third year of our staggered training with Nancy. Elementary principals also attend that grade level training with Nancy, so that can better inform our observation of teachers, as well as our ability to assist teachers across a particular grade level with any needs they may have as they continue to implement best practices. This year we've begun our Eureka Math implementation after a year-long process that teachers and administrators participated in to choose new math materials via a committee-based approach. We brought our PD, our training, and our new materials together over the summer as groups of grade level teachers worked together, as well as with Nancy Schultz, to create our K-5 math curriculum. They worked with her on site at her facility, and grade level principals as well were in attendance for the curriculum writing, sitting at the table with the teachers, engaged in discussions about additional manipulatives we may need or other materials that we may need to truly implement to our roots and why we got into administration in the first place. Teachers facilitated the iReady assessments for students in grades 1 through 5. This diagnostic assessment provides data for the teachers and identifies students who are performing below grade level expectations. It creates a My Path for them, which is a student individualized learning plan. Students can then work on deficient skills via activities and games until proficiency through iReady.
I'm just going to interrupt there, if you don't mind. With iReady, we've talked about it a lot, I'm just trying to keep it brief. The exciting part of iReady is that it brings, our principals here represented 5 different schools. When we were using the Lincoln benchmark assessment, it gave us good predictive data, as Dr. Matlos mentioned, but it didn't give us a unified path in between assessments. And that's what the iReady diagnostic does. The real power of this diagnostic is not the assessment, it's the My Path. So when a student views it, it's called My Path. We talk about it as student individualized learning plans. It's giving a unified approach to practice and engagement with standards in need of improvement to every student at their level, which was the goal of Lincoln, but developed unevenly because we didn't have a single resource for every teacher in every grade to use. So that is something I'm going to keep talking about as we use it over the years.
Teachers also have PLC time to complete grade level team analysis to identify what we call students by name and by need, where they're talking specifically about students at a grade level and sharing what those individual students need and how to facilitate individual students' learning. ELA.
I'm going to comment on that, and then you can count that double for what you're going to say in ELA. So with the data team, I mentioned earlier the excitement we had when we shared results in 2018 and 2019, that we had steady gain in our cohort analysis from the 2015 to 2019 school year. And that was because of, this was our first move. When we started talking and getting serious about test scores, it was started with the grade level data team. We trained our staff in data team analysis, in things called data carousel, and looking at item analysis, looking at the NJSLA results. We trained the entire district. We brought in a speaker named Dr. Tracy Severns, who is well known throughout the state for this type of work. We trained everyone on how to look at data and how to have these meetings. Then we brought in the Lincoln tool. What you're going to see on Friday, our Lincoln Navigator report, our individual staff members receive as well. The teacher gets a report similar to what you're going to see for their class. So for the next Ed committee, I'll prepare a couple different grade level samples, redacted from names. I think we've been begging Lincoln to do an incognito view where they can put fake names. We have some resources that do that, but if I don't have a fake name report, I'll redact student names just so you can see a sample of what the teacher's view is of this data. So you can count that for what's at the end of the next slide as well.
Thank you, Mr. Nowak. And in addition to those Lincoln reports that teachers have on individual students, they now have this iReady data to additionally inform their discussions with grade level teachers about students by name and by need. In ELA, the District Literacy Committee is dedicated to researching, reviewing, and recommending an ELA program replacement for the 24-25 school year. They will also collaborate with the Director of Education to engage with a sustainable and meaningful professional development provider, a similar approach that we used in mathematics this past school year. Teachers again facilitated the iReady assessments to students, and again, similarly in math, but for ELA, this diagnostic assessment provides this great data for teachers. It identifies students performing below grade level proficiencies. It creates that learning path for them. Students work on those deficient skills until proficiency. Time is built into the school day, into the ELA block, as well as the math block for them to do this work. teachers have that PLC time to use all of their ELA data to identify student needs. And that SEL component that Mr. Novak was speaking about before, something else that's not necessarily on the slide, but is a huge component of raising our test scores, is all the elementary schools will be rededicating themselves to a pre-pandemic practice of engaging our PTA or PTO, our parent community, all of our teachers, as well as our students in a motivating, exciting test culture to ready students to do their best and to help them to feel proud about doing their best. That's something that, again, pre-pandemic, all schools did every school year. It looks a little different in every school and has a cute little catchphrase that's slightly different in every school. A couple of my recent favorites were donut stress the test, and we had lots of donuts everywhere, did all the things with donuts, or rock the test with lots of electric guitars and blow-up guitars, and we would have celebratory assemblies and really hype each other up. So again, that's part of creating that SEL culture to get the community excited again and to help them understand that truly having our students perform to their best ability is at everyone's advantage, and certainly something that we would all love to see them do. Thank you for listening to elementary.
Can I ask an elementary question? It's middle of October, so it's a two-part question. Has K through 5 all tested the same amount of IRA index?
1 through 5.
1
K,
One through five.
planning, kindergarten, 1 to 7.
Okay, cool. And how many IRAs and Lincolns have 1 through 5 already done?
iReady has 3 windows, so we did our first window, similar to Lincoln.
So they did IRA for ELA and IRA for math, but no Lincolns yet.
Yeah, Lincoln, we're just using.
We abandoned the Lincoln benchmark assessment in place of iReady.
Yeah, and it's a much more user-friendly and the data that is driving is again, user-friendly and individualized and creates that learning path that Jen and Dave just spoke about.
Right, so
It will be tested twice with 2 different assessment grades, however.
our first window closed.
It replaces,
Right,
in that sense, it replaces.
Our first Lincoln window, our first iReady window closed for the diagnostic the Friday before our professional development day, because that was when we had our iReady trainer come in, met with everybody who administered the assessment, worked with our staff on how to look at the data, worked with our staff on how to assign the MyPath, how to judge as the students work with it to maybe adjust starting points. If a student had a bad test that day, there's a way to identify that. That's something we didn't have in Lincoln. Something we have in iReady.
And so IRA, ELA, on average, takes 2 days per class, really?
It varies depending on the grade
Varies per
level.
grade, yes, depending on.
Is it any more than 2 days?
At the younger grade levels, we were giving it over the course of more days, but for shorter amounts of time.
Okay.
And feedback from students and staff was that the kids really enjoyed iReady. The platform builds in breaks, it builds in periodic brain breaks for the kids, and they got a kick out of it. So it was a much more user-friendly program than they were used to with that Lincoln benchmark assessment.
And we just had the professional development on October 9th, or early 16th day, where teachers really got to see how to utilize that data to drive instruction. So they've been really eating up the data so far.
Yeah, they had their data from the first implementation for when the trainer came back. So they were able to look at real student data while she was instructing them. So it was more meaningful to them in order to kind of put what she was saying with actual student results.
And not only individualized, but it even groups the students in instructional groups and drives resources to work on instructional groups based on a variety of content areas.
So it's basically take every student and move them at their level.
Yep.
So you won't just be focusing on a student who has a learning deficit and hoping to close that gap. You take every student further on trajectory of their own learning path. So hopefully you can see all scores then increase on a continuum.
I also just wanted to speak to a question I think Mr. Levy might have been you. I can only speak for Paradise Knoll in this case, but we had 1 student last year who did not take the NJSI. So the number of students who didn't participate at the elementary level is nominal. who they are, but in my case, of 3 grade levels tested, I only had 1 student who didn't sit for the test.
How did the preliminary test, how does it look with what you just did with the I-ready?
I can, again, only speak to my school. I'm sure my colleagues can chime in. My teachers were very pleased at the results. In many cases, they saw that they were higher than they anticipated.
Everybody else feel the same way? The other schools?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's predictive on a grade level standard that they just started. So we have to keep that in mind. And so that's, it's built in that they should be seeing growth from point A to point B to point C. And that's how the assessment is.
Satisfactory.
Right. So some of the data, even though a child is scoring below grade level, they give a predictive analysis of where they should, if they're continuing on the same continuum, where they should score on an NJSLA kind of assessment, 5-tier assessment profile, and they can say, the below grade level here, they should score at grade level when testing happens.
They're doing 25 miles an hour now. By May, they should be doing 50 miles an hour.
Right, and again, the power, the power again of iReady. So what we didn't have with Lincoln, when a student took the Lincoln assessment, each student in the class all got the same questions. They were all at the grade level standards. So the feedback from staff often was that the assessment at the beginning of the year was very frustrating for students because it was at their grade level, or not at the standard expectations for their current grade. What iReady does is it adapts. So if a student scores the first 4 questions wrong, it lowers and tries to find their level.
Yeah.
So the students find more success with the diagnostic, and as they test, if they get the first 4 wrong, they get 3 in a row correct, it adjusts back up again, and then they find that sweet spot. And that's what they then get assessed on, or tested with, or prepared and practiced with the MyPath. Is that they're able to work on those, it identifies where they're at. And our hope, not only at the elementary level, but our bigger hope at the middle school and high school level, is that it's helping to rebuild some of those prerequisite skills that I mentioned earlier that we're missing in some of our higher levels. So if we have a middle school student who's a 6th grader testing 4th grade in math, this is going to help. So they're going to continue getting on grade level instruction in their coursework with the supports we have from their teacher and the school system. But then this additional tool is going to address some of those underlying missing prerequisite skills. So recently we were exposed to a quote from in math conversations about accessing, using the math you know to access the math that you don't know. And that's something that we think is going to work through the iReady My Learning Plan. It's very difficult. I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's hard work to be a teacher in 2023. I think we've given them a tool that can help them work on some of these missing standards while also going on with their on-grade level work.
If I can chime in on that also, the fall administration of the iReady gives the teachers an idea of proficiency in a particular grade level. And so to kind of speak to what Mr. Novak was just saying and what Mr. Kane was just saying, in conversation with my 5th grade teachers, for example, they were very pleased that a huge majority of those students tested on their fall iReady as proficient in grade 4, which means they learned all their skills last year and they now can progress with on-grade level skills. And the reason why we are so excited about that is in previous years, having gone through and endured, I think that word we used earlier, endured the pandemic, what we were finding was there were many holes in students' prerequisite skills from previous grade levels in multiple grade levels. In some cases, because of the way that we had to kind of endure the pandemic. So we're starting to see that now that we've been in school again, that students have really learned the skills that they were expected to in a particular grade level, and now we can just move forward. So that's what I mean when I say they were very excited to see a large majority of their students. Just as an example, my 5th grade teachers were like, they're all in grade 4 because they just started grade 5. So they wouldn't be in grade 5 necessarily. They'll have a handful who are gifted potentially or who may understand some 5th grade skills, but the 3rd week of school in September for 5th graders to be proficient in grade 4, yes, very excited about that.
All right, Dr. Malos?
Let's talk back.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Miller.
Let's talk about Mackin School. So, I actually appreciated the fact that when the Mackin slides went up, there was this awe reaction. 28 days in as the principal of Mackin School. Former principal of Luigi Gallo, supervisor before that, teacher before that. In 28 days, I had a staff that is craving the opportunity to make Mackin School the best middle school in this county, and if not, all New Jersey. In 28 days, I've already had staff meet with me in an academic committee on their own time, not paid, to discuss how do we improve our test scores at the school. We discussed already, we talked about targeted professional development, and the one thing I'm actually going to throw out there is it's not just about ELA and math. Our history department, for example, is more than capable of promoting writing as their content area. Our science department is very capable of promoting writing as well. One of the things that I want to focus on at Mackin is actually my point here of interdisciplinary writing. It's not just an ELA and math teacher's responsibility. It's all of us together, the entire staff. All right, if we work together to make this happen, I can guarantee you those scores go up because we're all in it together. Vertical articulation meetings, something else we discussed in our committee. It's not just a grade 6, a grade 7, and a grade 8 bullet point. Grade 6 should be working with grade 7. An ELA, history, science, or mathematics student should be working, again, from a grade 6 standard point, getting ready for grade 7, and then a grade 7 staff should be working with grade 8. Again, vertically articulating those content areas to then get them ready ultimately for West Milford High School. I didn't say high school, I said West Milford High School because that's where they should be going. So my job, especially within the first 28 days as your principal, is to make sure they go to West Milford High School by backing up Mr. Stryant and his staff, all right, with everything we do at Mackin School. So PCTI, watch out, we're coming. All right. Those navigator reports will be, of course, given to you. We find this to be extremely helpful because this breaks down our special education students, our 504s. Today as well, we actually the past 2 days we held cluster meetings. If you don't know what those are basically grade level meetings where our teachers are coming in, we're meeting to discuss students that need help. It's that simple. All right, students that have a response to intervention plan. The teacher is seeing those action plans from the previous year. So grade 7 teacher looking at those grade 6 plans. How can I help this kid in the grade 7, once again, articulating from that grade 6 plan to grade 7, ultimately making it, of course, to grade 8. The environment, again, the SEL concept, right? Social emotional learning, you keep hearing about it. Mackin School before coming in, we know, is SEL. This is a school, and again, shout out to the entire staff and community, coming together to make sure our kids are not just learning, but they're having fun. Have you been to the bonfire? That's all I have to say. The activities that are taking place after school, all right? The AIM Club, again, our staff staying after hours, again, to help our students from the months of November all the way until NJSLA May. All right, we do have a late bus, keep in mind, Tuesday through Thursday, 3:30, your kid can stay to get that help they need. All right. We have, again, mindfulness clubs, gardening clubs, so all that. You're thinking, hey, what does that have to do with testing? A lot. Because if I can keep a child in our school for that extra hour to get those extracurricular activities, to get their mind into test mode, absolutely. Let's do it. Targeted instruction, I mentioned before with PD. Again, it's not a bad thing for a history department, for example, to work with, once again, children learning, right? Literacy through history, a program like that. At the same time, it's not a bad thing for our mathematics, as you're seeing through Conquer Math, utilizing writing skills when you're answering a word problem. Curriculum development, what do we need? So for example, I have a lot of things that are coming out later this year after the first 28 days. All right. So especially announced to the community, because again, there are programs that our teachers are craving to have here, and I cannot wait to reveal those later on. And last but not least, I mentioned for the intervention meetings as well. That really is the foundation point here. Looking especially today with our staff, grade 6 and 7 especially, students that were in that level 3 category. What needs were there, what standards were they missing? And again, that's for those navigator reports. iReady as well helped out. And so let me just explain iReady from a math and student's point of view, especially speaking with our mathematics and ELA teachers. When your child is taking an iReady benchmark/assessment, they are getting a diagnostic result. They now have this result. The parent can look at this result too. You're thinking, what does all this mean? Well, iReady now versus Lincoln, they've decided that, no, let's take it a step further. We're going to give you a learning program based on the level you are at, and of course, whatever grade level you may be in, because believe it or not, a 7th grader may not be a true 7th grader. We have 7th graders that are still in 6th, possibly at a 5th grade level. That plan is then to bump them up, all right, into not just their grade level, but to exceed those standards as well. iReady is going to do that because for each assessment you take, we're not talking about the benchmark, we're just talking about the lessons they're throwing at you in math and ELA. They're taking those standards you're weaker in, all right? You're now doing those lessons through iReady, and you're improving each time as you take them, and you're now strengthening yourself. And again, let's say you don't do so well on those learning assessments. They take you back until you do. So it's a constant reinforcement of not just that one lesson, but those standards. All right? That is my plan. I'm going forward from Magdalene. Thank you.
I threw a surprise slide in here. So what you'll see in some of the plans or Dr. Matlos just referred to SEL in terms of one of our action items. This is the NJDOE competencies to go along with, this social emotional learning. So it is a quantifiable aspect. It's not just about, Dr. Matlos referred to school culture and school character and that sort of. It's not just about those events. It's about the things that we see each and every day that we look for. It is quantifiable. Self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills. This is part of what goes into or goes along with our New Jersey Student Learning Standards. So when we talk about SEL, it's not just to add another piece to a slide. It's something that we can see, something that is quantifiable. I'm going to take over. As many of you know, I've been deeply involved in K-12 mathematics for the last couple of years, it seems. I'm just going to talk about so many of the things that we've talked about before in this room. Is the fact that we've been all talking about Conquer Math and how that has, in my opinion, and the data supports it, has made an impact. Our middle school and high school teachers have engaged in this same coursework or in this same training for best practice standards-based instruction as our elementary teachers have. Now that we're in year 3, we have a wide range of teachers at different levels. So, a teacher who maybe taught primarily geometry, the first year we began this, maybe their course load had changed in scheduling, and now they're more involved in Algebra 1. than when we enrolled them in geometry for Concord Math. So we've made those adjustments. We have teachers from middle school and high school who are in different Concord Math training than they were in previous years. So making sure that their needs are being met to match the content that they're working with. Dr. Matlos referred to in his presentation vertical articulation. So one of the things that we've done that has been tremendous, I referred to it earlier, was about the idea that Algebra 1 in West Milford is Algebra 1. It's not MACAP in Algebra 1, it's not high school Algebra 1, it's Algebra 1. Same thing with geometry. So we have our middle school and high school teachers of Algebra 1 and geometry working together. They work together over the summer to work on those binders that we saw last month. And we believe that, working together through training, working together, when we go to the Concord Math facility, it's not the MACAP teachers go on this day, the high school teachers go on another, they go together. So Algebra 1 training is inclusive of those people. So they're training together, they're working together, they're collaborating together. That only is going to produce far better results in Algebra 1 and geometry going forward. Again, iReady at the middle school, we provide for all students in grades 6, 7, and 8 for both ELA and math. I'm not going to keep going on with iReady. I think you got it? Okay. Concord Math Summer Curriculum Binders, you saw those on review. That's a living and breathing tool that our teachers have. And, at the very core of the process, it keeps them on track with the standards that are expected at that grade level or in that course that are also going to produce at the end a better NJSL result if they're working daily in those standards that are going to be on the assessment. That's not teaching to the test, that's teaching to the state standards. The test is based on the state standards. So the better we are at addressing those standards, the better our results are going to be. And that's at its core what that process is all about. Mrs. West?
Is this on? Is it on?
That's what we're talking about. Like you're talking directly to the millions of fans around the world.
Yes, here I am. My challenge is going to be to say something new and add to what, there's so much great information that's already been shared. But we've been dovetailing. You're going to notice, obviously, in the slide, you're starting to see lots of things coming together, lots of similarity, hopefully. We are continuing the course in the LA and that been at the high school. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. With continued standards-based best practice professional development. In all of our professional development plans, these 3 items are baked in for teachers, and we are actively working on these things across the year. In 2023, we have a standards update in NJSLA and the ELA standards, also math. 2016 was the last time these standards were updated, so this is a lot of new information. We're getting ahead of that this year, implementing them in lesson plans, unpacking them now when they will be expected to be implemented fully in 2024. So we're getting ahead of that. iReady implementation, as we said, should lead to differentiated instruction. We've talked about MyPath, we've talked about the adaptive nature of the iReady assessment, levels up, levels down, addresses student skills exactly where they are. I do want to add to the iReady discussion, though, that they do address 5 domains. One of the domains is phonics, theming awareness, vocabulary, informational text, and literary text. So you could have a student who is at their grade level in informational text, but still is struggling with vocabulary in the 6th grade level if they're an 8th grader. So it really breaks that information down and helps the teacher have a really very clear color-coded picture of where students are, and they can actively address those standards. And of course, the NJDOE competencies that were just shared in SEL. This is actually a year 2 goal for us in the English department. We talk a lot in English and in humanities about addressing the needs of the whole child. Very important that we look at the whole child, the whole picture. Academics are important. The social emotional pieces are very important, and we want to create an environment where students feel safe and comfortable and know how to interact with one another and begin to remember how to engage with each other in the community. Grade 8 to 9, high school NACPEN articulation. We are getting back to the articulation that Dr. Dallas spoke about, alignment, scopes, and sequences. I won't repeat what I said about that, but there it is again. So those are all our points on NACPEN.
Thank you. As we transition, Mr. Stein, do you come up? You're going to see a lot of the similar items for mathematics, but I want to address something that's not on the slide because I do hear in the back of my head our previous STEM supervisor asking why is there no slides about science. As we know, science is also a tested area, grades 5, 8, and 11. The action plan for the things we're doing for our science standards are very similar to the things that we're doing for math and ELA. We do not have, and we were begging Linkit to create it, and we do not have access to it in iReady. It was some sort of tool to address those standards. Prior to leaving us, our previous STEM supervisor helped implement a replacement for our K-5 science program called Knowing Science. That is a program that was directly related to the change from the old science standards to the next generation science standards, which became New Jersey Student Learning for Standards for Science. Mouthful, I'm sorry. But that has helped align our science curriculum at K-5 to, as I mentioned with our process with Conquer Math, to provide greater instruction and a greater adherence to the grade level standards at that time. That is also something that she implemented in the middle school and the high school, making sure that our courses were aligned. There was a lot of great pain in that process. The reason I bring that up, the previous STEM supervisor, is that personnel item number 5. We have an opportunity to fix that. So I'm not gonna get ahead on personnel, but I want to, that's also part of our action plan. So I'm very, very excited about that. So without further ado, I'm just kind of buying time while Matt was making it up here. All right.
You said almost everything I was going to say. It's not our plan in high school and McMinn should know when we were each other, because I'm personally that way, because McMinn feeds the high school. In speaking with the math teachers, one of the biggest issues was math students coming up from McMinn to high school, they're not ready, or they're not where they need to be. So by allowing them to work together, it won't matter now if you're taking algebra in McMinn or algebra in high school, you get the same instruction because they're collaborating on lesson plans. They have a whole shared folder. They did summer training over the summer with Conquer Math, and they're basically paced the same way right now. So that's refreshing to hear because test scores are tied to high school, right? So we need to get those kids coming in, even our accelerator kids, on the grade level so that they can do well in high school as well. So something that the teachers have been asking for, and thanks to Mr. Novak for getting that implemented, in speaking to them, they're very happy. So, like I said, when you come to the high school, if the kid had algebra 1 in McMinn, algebra 1 in high school, and then they go into geometry, they should all be on the same level because all those lessons are paced at the same time. We have iReady in our resource center math classes. We're looking to expand that to the rest of the classes and get them same way as the elementary schools are. Basically the same other things, department data analysis and the link and everything, because you know every kid by name and by need. And also touching on the SEL, the high school, we have tons of clubs, tons of things. I was just at the guidance night, and I always make a point to speak to the freshman parents, just to tell them how much we offer. And kids do better when they're involved in school. It's a sense of belonging. So we currently just added, Mr. Matt must might like this, the Dungeons and Dragons Club that will be starting. So we're always adding things. The kids ask, we get them a teacher to run it, and then we'll implement it in there. So There's plenty of things for them to do for social emotional learning, and always looking to change things for testing. Just did the PSATs. By the time the kids are done with that PSAT, they're fried for the rest of the day. They're done. So we're looking at next year, we'd like to maybe test freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and give the seniors a college visit day. Bring those kids in, test them, seniors go on a college visit, there's an excuse absence for them, and test them, and either do something nice after school or make it a half-day schedule and send them home. So those are things we're talking about to kind of help them out with testing. When testing comes up in the spring, test them, maybe do some sort of field day thing or barbecue, something like that, to kind of reward them. And because then they got to go to an 8-period day afterwards. They're tired, the teacher, everybody's tired. So those are things we're looking to add into a group upon and kind of get creative to kind of change that culture.
Also, I'm just going to jump in, less than a minute. With Algebra 1 and Geometry, we talked a lot about working with our middle school and high school staff to streamline and make sure that everyone's on the same page. There's also a discussion about placement. There's also a discussion about assessing prerequisite skills before students are placed into an honors Algebra 1 and honors Geometry, or an 8th grade Algebra 1 class and a 7th grade pre-algebra, or a 6th grade pre-algebra. So those are things that we are looking at very carefully in terms of prerequisite expectations before entering into those courses. But that's a song for another time, and I don't want to expand that.
iReady is only given to undergrad level.
Thank you for pointing that out. So that is a process that we began at. iReady does not provide a high school platform. I worked with our iReady rep, and they gave us access to certain courses. So we have rostered, and I piloted with we had no intention to do this, but I was able to pilot with the math program earlier during our first window, and we were able to get, so we have our courses that are mathematics foundations, or some of our resource centers at the high school, where students may or may not be below grade level expectations. That's the recommendation through iReady. So we are giving diagnostic assessments to those students and access to the MyPath to use in their coursework.
So then explain what you were just saying, in that we're using, what are we using then to determine if kids are on the proper grade level or not? If we don't have iReady for, let's say, an honor.
So that discussion shouldn't be at the high school. No. We can talk about it. You can, yes, ask the question. I'm not saying don't ask that question.
Okay.
But
You can.
we're talking about 5th grade. We're talking about 5th grade, 6th grade data to determine. So our problems, I don't say problems, not the right word. Where we're seeing a discrepancy, if I go back 20 slides, where we look at geometry and Algebra 1 scores across the district, they're not indicative of our student body, because we have students at different ranges. So our 8th grade scores are not indicative of our 8th graders, because we have so many students taking the Algebra 1 assessment. If we had a better process, which is a reveal, if we had a better process for who was taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade, those scores may have been better. So it's possible that students who are taking Algebra 1 at the middle school should be in 8th grade math, and would have done much better as a freshman in Algebra 1 if they had those 8th grade prerequisite skills. So there are standards, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade standards, that students leapfrog when they get into a 7th grade Algebra 1 or a 8th grade geometry class. Some students are capable. So we have to be very careful about who we leapfrog and who we say can miss a whole grade level worth of standards at grade 7. Not that those elements aren't in Algebra 1 and geometry, but again, I think it's careful. Like I said, that's why I said it's a song for another time, because that's a much bigger conversation. I have that conversation daily
with our math department. I can't get through a hallway or through a classroom with, hey, if we do this, maybe. So it's a conversation that I've been deeply involved with. I know Mr. Stryans, Dr. Matlos, Mrs. Johnson, not you. We deal with it. We deal with this discussion daily because it is a guidance, it is a principle, it's a teacher reveal when we look at the data. So it's something we know needs work, and we're doing that work.
Is that because you're trying to correlate the maths in Mackin and high school? So now we're trying to bring Mackin geometry up to really geometry. And we're finding out that these students maybe not ready for the high school level geometry in 7th or 8th grade.
Absolutely. So I think we had a couple compounding developments. The process for adding more students to 7th grade algebra and 8th grade geometry, that's an honors track. The process for 7th grade pre-algebra and 8th grade algebra 1 coincided with the thing we don't want to talk about, which is the pandemic. So that was a bad time to implement this type of change. And I think at the core, with the way the world, it wasn't just West Milford, there was a lot of compassion. There was a lot of, doing everything we could to get students to the finish line in that year that we shut down and in that hybrid year. And I think in our good intentions with the, moving kids on and getting kids to the finish line in those years, there was some prerequisite learning that was lost. And it's happened, it was across the board, but in mathematics, it was compounded more because the next step is so dependent on the step before it. So that's the long answer to the yes that I gave you in the beginning. That's what we're looking at. So it's about assessing, it's about, I-Ready is just one, multiple measures. You need multiple measures to place a student in courses. So it's teacher recommendation, it's grades, it's scores on the NJSLA, both ELA and math, because there's indicators in both angles. There's the I-Ready diagnostics, there's the body of work that we have. There's also the competencies, what are they called? Readiness indicators, we call them readiness indicators, completing homework, hitting the class on time, all of those things matter. So when we create a picture of a student, it's not just one single factor, it's multifaceted. Your turn?
It's my turn.
Right.
It's my turn. I think this is the last slide. Okay, so again, without being redundant, I'm going to try and add some new things to my previous slide about Mackin. Again, addressing at the high school level, the 2023 NJSLS update and the SEL and JPOE competencies. But I do want to jump down to the Department of Data Analysis, and Mrs. Romeo brought up a great point about the NJGPA. On the first days of school, all of our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade teachers looked at the NJGPA evidence statement tables, and we looked at the areas where we had the greatest need and identified what those release items looked like so that we could all get familiar with how to get all of our students where they need to be for the NJGPA. And to your point, those are the same standards. Very similar blueprints for the assessments themselves. The NJSLA flows right into the NJGPA, so it's essentially looking at the same things. All of that flows together. And we try and make that as dovetailed as possible. Again, grade 8 and 9 articulation to align scope and sequence, very, very important, and those are going to be great conversations. We are looking forward to joining back in with that again. I-Ready, again, you're using that for looking at some of our students that are performing below grade level. For our students, and I'm going to jump back down to the Department of Data Analysis again. Looking at those release items, evidence statement tables, and the Lincoln Navigator reports, that is the data that we have because those students did take benchmarks last year. So we have all that data that teachers have been looking at, looking for things like SGOs, looking for instructional guidance, looking for those areas of need. We have lots of data in that warehouse that we use Lincoln for at this point for those scores. So again, all those things flowing together. I think that I feel very confident in our plan for Mackin and the high school for ELA.
One quick question for you. we talk a lot about correlating math in middle school going forward into high school to make sure everyone's on the same levels as they build forward. Are we doing that same thing with the humanities and sciences and things like that? Because it does build.
For English?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. That's what they, and to your point, the aligning scopes and sequences all the way through from 6th, 7th, 8th grade, 9th, 10th, all the way through. Our standards in the LA spiral and go up and get kind of wider and deeper as we go on. They're not as sequential as they are now, so we're able to address those routinely year over year over year, which is, I think, sort of benefit of the LA.
I'd like to piggyback on that question. So Dr. Metlos was tying in, and I know the district I worked in did the same thing with the history and the English language, ELA. Are we doing something comparable to that in the high school as well, as far as the writing and the English and then the math and the science? They're all tied into, I mean, I'm assuming they're all tied in together as well as writing and the science, correct? And so the staff at the high school are all working in tandem to help.
You mean writing across the curriculum?
Correct.
Right. There's a very specific type of writing that goes on in science, and I do know that our previous STEM supervisor tried to address that with lab reports and science notebooks, informational writing, certainly writing history. Dr. Matlos mentioned Bill DeLorman, DBQs. Those are activities, and those are writing focus that we have for history as well. We would definitely like to continue conversations with, we're working right now with Professor Rutgers, actually, who is sharing with my high school department how some of the writing at Rutgers has changed in their initial course that they require students to take. It's become a little less analytical and a little bit more student-centered, they're calling it. So we're going to patch him into the next department meeting, and I'm going to have asked the MACMA teachers to actually join us in that discussion as well, so that he can share what those differences are and kind of see where that writing goes at the post-secondary level. So we're, through my North New Jersey Roundtable in LA, I'm able to really bring those resources to our MACMA teachers and to our high school teachers.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good. Any other graphics? That's it. And this is a phrase that we learned when we started with the data analysis coursework back in 2015, is that if we're all pulling the same rope, we can get to the goals that we need. I know with math, we've worked, math and ELA, we've worked very hard, but I think this is an area that is going to you'll see the biggest improvement in terms of, again, very symbolic to have all of our administrators here tonight, so I'm forever grateful for your participation in this discussion. I know I speak for math because I've been so deeply involved in it that, with our work, with our professional development, we're trying to foster the idea that you have to, math is something you learn in your hands first before it's something you can grasp in your head. And that's something that our parents are going to learn. This is a segue into math night tomorrow night, Eureka Math. We have our parent night K-5, where our trainer, the famous Nancy Schultz that I keep talking about in Conquer Math, she's going to come and talk to parents about exactly the things that I've been talking about. So again, I thank you. I don't know if there's any further questions.
All right, so you did segue into my question, and I'm glad the principals are here as well. The one thing I did not see in the slides was about parents' involvement, family involvement, support. And I don't mean having the parents become educators, but providing support as far as materials, tutoring, resources, and understanding whether we get the PTAs, PTOs, PTSOs involved in just promoting education and helping their children and their schools become better learners. And I don't know what can be done. I don't know if it's already been done, if I'm just reiterating what is currently being done. But any resources or any other outside influences, to help the families out, because if the child's coming in well-fed, well prepared, and feeling safe, and I know ESL is a part of it, and school safety is a part of it as well. I think it's got to be, the teachers, the administrators do a fantastic job, but it's also we got to make sure our parents are on board with this as well.
I agree. That's a lot of the tone of what we were talking about in terms of the discussion starts here tonight, and it continues. This is the starting point. In the work that we're talking about with, when I say making a video, it's not one of those silly videos. It's,
Oh, you mean no Star Wars or anything?
well, I can't keep him out of Star Wars.
Sorry.
But, it's going to be very informative. We're going to be launching a spot on our website to directly address these types of resources that we have. The conversation began here. Part of that starts with tomorrow night. We're doing, Eureka Math Parent Night. It's the first time we've done that, as far as I'm aware, in the time that I've been here, a very long time, for, a parent night to talk about a program, to bring in the professional development for math, to talk directly to parents about, that's our topics for tomorrow night, is how can you better support your child at home? And it's not just about testing. You improve test scores by teaching the right things and teaching the way that, teaching best practices. And that's all the work that we're doing. So yes, the parents are very important. Mrs. Miller referred to, so many of those things that we've had in the past, and those symbolic things like, preparing for testing. But it's not just about the weeks before testing. It's not just about preparing, who's cutting up the oranges to send to school to give the kids a little boost. That's important. Those are things that we have to really embrace and improve and encourage, but also arming parents with this discussion at home about the importance of testing, the importance of reading every night. Those are things we talk about. I know our elementary principals are really push it, and our staff members in middle school and high school. Reading every night, practicing math. Those are things that, even throughout all the debates over the years about who does what homework, the constant has always been, you need to read every night, and you need to practice math every night. And those are the things that we're going to do better with bringing it to the home. We have to build an academic culture across the district that's in the homes, in the classrooms.
Right. So parent-teachers conferences are coming up in a month. I don't know if there could be some sort of materials available for the parents, because they do.
I share every year through a school messenger announcement with parent questions, preparing parents for how to go into a parent-teacher conference, giving them questions to ask. We are also planning on distributing the first I-rating results at that time. So our teachers who have participated in that diagnostic will be armed not only with, grade reporting, which is the tradition of parent-teacher conferences, but also with I-rating diagnostic and this discussion.
And maybe something along the lines of how can, like a little pamphlet or something. I mean, okay, let me phrase this. I don't know if parents want hard copies or everything's electronic these days, but something where they say, how can I help my kid in school, and have like the top 10 thing. Something along those lines, that or have, a banner or something about, helping your child get through, to grow academically, to grow and be the best student that he or she can be. I don't know if that can be done, but I mean, I would like to see more of really incorporating the parents involved in that as well. It could be it could be subtle. It doesn't have to be in your face kind of thing. So I don't know if the principals have ideas. I'm just throwing it out there and seeing the proverbial spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks thing.
One more. Thank you very much for administrators. Great job, very impressive for me. It's maybe jumping the gun a little bit. We have a sort of hard objective as the district, what we're trying to accomplish here. Obviously, higher test scores and things like that, but is there a number that we can look back on a year or 2 years from now and say, we hit our goal?
So what happens at the building level that we don't, or the building level and the district level, is we talk about You know, we gave you action plans, but there's a more specific action plan that we talk about where we look at, you know, the great and most need in one building might be different than the other building. So, and I'm not pulling out any particular, I'm just giving an example. If Maple Road needed work in 5th grade and Marshall Hill needed work in 3rd grade, it's not any indication of any data available, it's just me throwing things out. And that's building plan action that our principals would take, and then they would, you know, work on a specific goal and talk about it. So we do assign specific number target goals for ourselves and for our staff for the things that we do.
And I also interject, the other great thing, we talked about iReady a lot tonight, but the other piece is it says individual goals for each student, like where that growth goal should be for each child, and then provides the teachers the resources to hopefully get that child to that goal. So not only are we looking at goals from a macro level, but we're looking at it from a micro level, student by student.
I think Dr. Fenari mentioned when we approve district goals, how district goals set the tone for the work that we do. So every staff member in this school district has a professional development plan. They typically have a minimum of 2 goals, and they relate directly to the district goals. So obviously all of our math teachers are, you know, working hard at addressing our district mathematics goal, while you know, the non-teachers of math are looking at a content goal and often social emotional learning goals. So we have that trickle down of what our district objectives are, and it relates not only to professional development plans, principal professional development plans, school-based professional development plans, and then also, no, we don't want to talk about them out loud, SGOs, student growth objectives. So they are part of an evaluation system that nobody loves. However, there is a kernel of, I guess, a kernel of meaningfulness in SGOs. If you disconnect it from the public relations part of it with being a staff evaluation tool, it helps staff members hone in on a specific goal and see measured growth.
And just because I feel left out, I gotta say the word iReady once at least, and to see, you know, are we making money with your millions of fans watching the advertising?
I did get, I'm not going to tell you out loud because I don't want to.
Guess who paid for the suit tonight?
I don't want our vendor to get upset, but I'll tell you some of the perks we got for iReady.
With that, as the trustees and the admin take their seats, I do want to tell a story that directly relates to Mr. Litley's question. A few summers ago, I witnessed a conversation on a local beach of many teachers from one district that had iReady for many years. You guys can come back as I'm telling my story, but and these teachers were in different buildings with different principals from the same district. And I heard and really took note of what they were saying about how their principals handled their iReady scores so differently. And the one educator that was, whose principal took it very serious, saw more accolades and had board presentations at the end of the year with more awards because their scores went up. And so the other teacher was asking that teacher, well, what did you guys do differently? And she was saying, oh, we had to meet with about all of our students and have action plans for every kid. It started with the ones with, you know, IEPs, 504s, INRS, and then we went to every single kid. And so I don't know how often they met, but it was just an interesting conversation to watch educators say, like, what did your building do different that mine didn't do? And I worked just as hard as you did. And, but it was really about how the administration took it serious and supported it differently. And so take that with whatever you will, but it was a very interesting conversation to watch teachers have, you know, who were passionate about this entire thing, and they both really liked iReady. So I'm excited for it. Thank you so much for this presentation. Everyone that had a part in it, thank you for being here, administration. I know that I can speak for the board and saying, like, we're really pleased in this. Like, we want better test scores. We want to move up in, you know, and be the best that we can be. So I'm very excited about this year, and thank you for everything that you do every day.
Thank you.
Can I dismiss the administrators? Do they have work in the morning?
Before they get dismissed, I want to just say thank you so much for the administrative team, not only being here to support this presentation, but you're living and breathing the plans that were presented tonight in a very meaningful way. As you're speaking, I know that you have all of your staff members and all of your students in your minds. You can feel that. So thank you so much for taking the time to come here and sharing what you're doing with us, because this is the way to make improvement. This is a full team effort. That last slide said a lot. So thanks so much.
And you can see all of our elementary principals again tomorrow night at Family Math Night. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Next on the agenda, we have special reports and correspondence. Mr. Schultz?
I just have the September 19th workshop regular meeting minutes and the September 19th executive session minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following Board of Education meeting minutes: September 19, 2023 workshop regular meeting, September 19, 2023 executive session.
Second?
All in favor? Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, my president's report. I would first like to let the board know that I met with our new field service rep, and I have some business cards that I will give to you later. Good night. Ms. Mitchell and I discussed doing a board assessment, so I will be sending that out within the next month, before the next board meeting. And we had a great conversation just about our past, how we've done our goals and all of our the trainings. And also, I was able to really learn, and I love that I still get to learn every single day, but really what school boards offers to us as board members. And I've heard many of you discuss it in the past about becoming certified board members and taking the trainings, and just excited to learn more about that. So Ms. Mitchell is our new service rep, and she's available to all of us for questions. So as I said, I have cards here, and I will give them to you. To the public, I just wanted to mention, I've received a lot of emails lately. I'd like you to know that if you send me an anonymous email, I'm not responding to it and I'm not forwarding it. If you send me an email from an email address that you claim with your name and that it's a concern of anything in this district, I forward it to the superintendent, who then makes sure that it is responded to either by herself or the appropriate staff members. In whatever way, we'll handle whatever the situation is. I just wanted to make that announcement. The next announcement I have, I received an email from the Friends of the Wallish Estates. They have a big presentation this, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble finding the email. They have a big presentation this weekend coming up with a turkey tray, all kinds of information will be there. It's a fundraiser for the historical barn that they're working on. Okay, here's the email, I'm sorry about that. The weekend of October 21st and 22nd, the East Coast Research and Discovery Association, which is a metal detecting club, is having a fundraiser for the Friends of the Wallish Estates. They will be hunting, and they're bringing really great stuff for the public to see and to witness as historical events. They'll be bringing their traveling museum to the barn, and we'll be sharing artifacts of the Revolutionary and the Civil War and from the Native American Indians. They're providing a free dig for children. They're also having a Vietnam-era war information, and a Vietnam group that will bring a vehicle or two and have a tent set up. On the second day, Bill Barrett, who's a certified blacksmith, will have a demonstration that he's putting on Sunday. And there's going to be a lot going on, so head on over to the Wallish Estates. And as I said, all this does relate to education. It's exciting for our students involved in that love history. The Tricky Tray is throughout the weekend, and all the proceeds go to the Red Timber Barn, which is the oldest structure on that site, dating back to the early 1800s. If you'd like more information, you can always email the Friends of the Wallish Estates, and you can Google them and find their page. The last thing I had was just to say I'm excited for tomorrow night for Family Math Night, which is before the Highlander Funding Committee night also. The Education Foundation, it's now called. Sorry about that. I have to change that in my brain. And I have one other very important part of my report, which is to ask Mrs. Lockwood for an announcement.
Thank you, Mrs. Romeo. So Ms. Hellowa, who we hired to aid us in the superintendent search, has given me an update. So I wanted to update everyone on some upcoming dates and get some information out there. So coming soon, the website will have a link to a page that's dedicated for the purpose of the superintendent search. All updates and information will be posted on there. That should be upcoming very soon. Some key dates, October 18th to the 30th, should be opening up with online input surveys for the district, staff, families, and community members to fill out. That will be available, and I think that information will be disseminated through Messenger, correct, Dr. Murray? And then November 14th, Ms. Hellowa will be coming into the district for the day. She'll be doing in-person input sessions for the district staff, and then she'll be doing an evening input session for families and community members. I'm sure that time will be posted at a later date. And then just to update on the posting for the position, will be posted on 12/4, December 4th. It will be advertised and posted via NJSBA website, social media, and other advertising sites, and that will close on January 5th, 2024. And then we'll go ahead and start with all the hard work we're going to have next year in interviewing and putting that pool down, and hopefully having a candidate for approval and a start date of July 1st, 2024. So just wanted to update everybody on the superintendent search.
Thank you, Mrs. Lockwood. And that concludes my president's report.
Yeah, I just have a question.
Yes.
Claire, you said it's going to open on the 18th, that's tomorrow?
Of December.
Yes.
The website. 10/18, you said, right? So that's tomorrow.
The surveys, yes.
Okay, because I know some people were asking about.
Yes, so the online surveys should be opening up tomorrow, and they'll be running through 10/30.
Okay.
Till October 30th. The website will probably have a link to those once that's up and running on our website.
And that will be at our West Milford WMTPS.org site?
The district website.
Yeah, it'll
District
be on the
website.
district website.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
there'll be a special link that just takes you to this.
Perfect, thank you.
Will?
And on the announcement front, is there a possibility of maybe announcing it through Honeywell that this survey is available?
Well, that's what I just asked Dr. Fenari. Yeah.
Oh, Messenger, that's what it's
yeah,
called?
Yeah, the messenger.
Because I didn't get added to that group. I'm not saying add me, please don't add me. I don't need to know about snow days or anything, but I didn't know that was changed.
I think the board one,
Group to be on because you'll know things that are going on up to this point.
Well, I think we'll get
I'll think about
ours
it.
through Dr. Fenari and Ms. Helleworth for the board. This is just really for the community and everything, and ours would be separate.
Okay, I was thinking the West Milford Messenger.
Oh, no.
Aha.
Messenger, yeah.
Messenger. Okay, that concludes my president's report. And next is public comment. All speakers will have 5 minutes to speak until a period of 30 minutes transpires. Before speaking, please state your name, group affiliation, and address for the record. Members of the public who've requested to speak prior to the meeting will be recognized by the chair first. After speaking, all speakers are asked to sign the register provided and give their full name, group affiliation, and their address. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are expected to have read the statement within the agenda regarding the regulations concerning public comments. Members of the public are reminded that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Mr. Schultz, do we have anyone that would like to speak?
Not for the first session.
Okay. Do I have any speakers? Yes. Here.
Here's the mic.
You can give her yours.
Here, you can take mine.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll write my name on here too. So, hi everybody, Dr. Marissa Goff. I actually just wanted to ask some follow-up questions, things that were listed on the agenda for tonight. I just needed some clarification, but I also wanted to talk to you a little bit more about the free and reduced lunch, which seems to be a common theme for tonight, especially because we were talking about the NJSLA testing. So first of all, thank you for that presentation. Someone who is not an educator, I greatly appreciate coming in and learning about how everything kind of ties in together, how different programs, how different things for extra help all ties into these scores, and scores is directly correlated to how we receive funding for our district. So someone coming from the outside in, it's really nice to sit here. Even though it was a very long presentation, it was informative. So I do appreciate that. So speaking of free and reduced lunches, I've been kind of going back and forth with myself, with my PTA, with some of the parents, and even with the Highlander Education Foundation. And I've been trying to find a way to streamline it for parents. Because from personal experience, when I first saw the application, which is 10 pages, well, not the application, the packet that comes with it is about 10 pages long. Coming from a parent where you get about 47 flyers in your child's folder every single day, needless to say, I didn't look at the free and reduced lunch packet last year. So over the summer, I actually took a moment to look through it, and I saw on one of the pages, which I brought with me, that there's a link that brings you to the parent portal, where we find out transportation. Every parent goes on there in August leading into the fall, where they have to find out what teacher their student is assigned to, find out their transportation route. So they're going on that website in August anyway. Well, on the left-hand side of that menu is where you can find the food services, and there's that link with 4 questions for the free and reduced lunch. So I can tell you right now, 99% of parents don't know what's on there, because yes, it is in this packet, which I printed out. So this is what we get sent home with us, this 10-page piece of paper, which I know is required by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I know this has to get sent home with us. However, the application, physical application that goes to Tracy Lynch, I believe, is on the last page. It is 4 questions. So having it available, I know it is on the board, I know it's on the West Milford website. It is about 4 steps in order to reach that link. I think having something, and again, I made this during my lunch, so this is very rudimentary, but just having 2 steps, screenshots, how you get to it, what the link is, just say it's the link where you find out your child's teacher. It's 4 questions. I know just like having for testing, you can't make it a requirement, but highly encourage it. Because I know that there are 2 schools, I believe next year, where we are losing Title I funding. I don't even think parents know that this free and reduced lunch is directly correlated to our Title I funding. And if I have it written down here correctly, that is, the Title I funding is things like foundations, academic clubs, family literacy nights. So that's just with the Title I, that's not including the others. So having parents know that may be something, outside of your having, like how we have Eureka Math tomorrow, maybe having an educational session for parents outside of Board of Ed meetings that are at 7 o'clock at night, and explaining to them, hey, you fill out these 4 questions online, which took me all of 30 seconds to do. Maybe we can capture a few of those students that maybe they didn't think qualified for, and maybe we can get back some of that Title I funding. So that was on the one side of the free and reduced lunch. I want to see if there's any way we can let residents know how we can maybe just fill out that application, not make it a requirement, but strongly encourage it. The other question that I did have that Dr. Matlos actually brought up in particular was about, I think you call it the ESSER grant, I always call it the ESSR, I think that just sounds more fun. But I wanted to ask a little bit more about clarification, not just on my end, but a lot of parents that came up to me at Autumn Lights last weekend or the weekend before. The common trend that I'm finding in the Board of Ed agenda is people are missing where it'll say like academic clubs, after-school activities. People were coming up to me and saying, well, why are you trying to save programs that are going to be lost by the ESSR grant when after-school programs are funded by PTAs? So I think there's a miscommunication where parents are automatically assuming that all after-school activities are funded by PTAs, which in some cases, yes. You have it listed on your Board of Ed agenda. There are 1 or 2 listed tonight that will say funded by PTA, or one that was funded, I think, by school play efforts. But there are a few that are listed that with the ESSR, which I know is September of 2024, we're going to be losing funding for. So I just think as a parent, as someone, as a director of the Higher Education Foundation, I think I would like to see like a clear picture of what programs, a list, what programs in particular are funded right now by ESSR, so we can have an understanding how many students are going to be impacted. Is it just board gamers? Is it just mindfulness clubs? How many in particular would be lost because of that? And I know a big one in particular too is Encore, which I see parents all the time on our PTA page are always asking, how can I get extra help for my child in math and ELA? And I know Encore is one of them, and that is also funded by the ESSR. So I think just as a parent, as a member of the community, I think some of these things need to be a little bit, not transparent, because I find that you are all very transparent. I want to say that it has to be more in layman's terms. For someone like me, there's like so many others in our community that are not educators, it might just go right over their head. So that's my 2 cents for tonight. Thank you.
Unless somebody else is speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goff. Do we have another speaker?
Seeing none, I move to close public comments. Second. Oh, okay.
Dr. Flannery, do you have, well, I actually didn't want to close the public comment, so I'm glad that we didn't vote yet. We have 1 speaker signed up, yes? For the second part. Is anyone opposed to if I allow that speaker to speak in the first section tonight? I didn't.
No. No crowd on the door. I'm going to waive the rules of public comments.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I rescind my motion to close public comments.
Thank you. Do we have a second on rescinding Wells close?
You don't need to. I already did that.
Okay, cool. So that you don't have to stay, or you can choose to, or whatever, our speaker for the second portion, and we don't normally do this, but I did see the purpose for reading.
You don't want to stay for the time, do you?
Come on up. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Laurel Haraka, and I live on Wheaton Drive in West Milford. I first want to thank you all for serving on the board. And it's been a rough few years, and I really appreciate all the effort you put in, and especially this program tonight. It was really very informative, and I truly, really appreciate that. We probably don't get a lot of thank yous, so I think. I'm speaking today about concerns for the current West Milford School curriculum, K through 12, and policy 5756, both addressing issues of transgender and parental rights. I'd like to share some definitions to make sure we all have the same understanding. These definitions come from usafacts.org. Transgender is an umbrella term for people whose gender identity expression is different from their sex assigned at birth. Cisgender describes individuals whose current gender identity is the same as the sex they were assigned with at birth. Now I'd like to share with you some facts with you all, and I have a chart here. According to the usafacts.org, 1% of the population is transgender, 1.03% of the population declares none, 47.7% of the population is male, and 49% of the population is female. 97.5%, that is 97.5%, which is most of the U.S. population, identifies as cisgender, that's male, female. According to the above facts, the current New Jersey State Board of Education guideline curriculum, K through 12, makes absolutely no sense in introducing transgender or LGBTQ plus throughout the curriculum, especially in grades K through 8. I believe those who wrote the guidelines in curriculum K through 8 wanted to show fairness. I really do believe that, and inclusion. While trying to show the fairness and inclusion, they introduced their personal feelings, rather than the true fairness and inclusion of all students. Families had different feelings about gender dysphoria and gender identity. This should be left up to the family unit to discuss. If a student is struggling with anything physically or psychologically, it should be brought to the attention of parents. This is a parental right. This is not the responsibility of our educators, nor the state board, nor of our governor. Children are taught to be kind to one another in and out of school. On the whole, most children are kind most of the time. There is a school anti-bully policy. You're well familiar with it. It's HIB, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. This policy is written for all students. This is an all-inclusive policy. This policy protects all students. No student should be harassed, intimidated, or bullied. This is a good policy protecting all students of all walks of life. Our schools and our communities should be encouraging our students to find their talents and pursuing them through math, science, English, art, music, and physical education. Our children are the next generation of mathematicians, scientists, writers, artists, musicians, pro athletes, electricians, finished carpenters, plumbers, and so much more. In conclusion, my plea to you, Board of Education members, the superintendent, and the Director of Education is to repeal policy guideline, it's a guideline, of 5756, like many schools in the state of New Jersey have. Some schools that have repealed 5756 are Manalapan, Englishtown, Marlborough, Middletown, Hanover, Holtzneck, Lacey, Homedale, Howell, Lafayette, Millstone, and Sparta. My other plea is asking those who write the New Jersey State Guideline curriculum and those who write the curriculum for our West Milford schools to go back to the drawing board to come up with a K through 12 curriculum that concentrates on academics and unites and uplifts and encourages the students to find their talents and pursue them with excellence. Let HIB be what protects our children who are from all different walks of life. Let's get back to teaching our children pure math, science, history, English, music, and art. And let's continue to be teaching our children always to be kind, to be encouraging, and to be seeking their talents, and to always be learning. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in public comment?
Seeing none, I move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Dr. Fenari, do you have any updates to the agenda?
So, board members, I'm going to direct your attention to, under education, number 5. We have one field trip location that is being removed, and that is because the business in question is no longer open. That's Sunrise Coffee House in Bloomingdale. Yeah, and then also, and that was, let's see, on page, my page correctly, I'm sorry, page 8. If you look at, under personnel, item number 17, we have one individual who has declined to become a sub with us because they actually secured a permanent position elsewhere. So we're removing Virginia Velling, I'm so sorry, I mispronounced the name.
Victoria.
Yes, yes. Okay, those are the only 2 changes I have to the agenda. There is a hand carry motion under education as well that Mr. Schultz provided to the board on the table.
I move to approve the amended agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Mrs. Lockwood, education.
I make a motion to approve agenda items 1 through 11, which includes hand carry 1, under education.
I think he seconded it.
Twice. Any questions or comments? Seeing as none, we'll go to roll call. Mr. Schultz.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricano?
Yes.
Mr. Seidowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Abstain.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes. Personnel and Student Affairs, Mrs. Van Dyke.
Yes, I'd like to move items 1 through
2000.
2000. 1 through
36.
36.
Second.
Questions and comments? Seeing as none, we'll go to roll call. Mr. Schultz, please.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
Mr. Seidowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricano?
Yes.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Abstain on number 5 and no on number 24.
Yes, the rest.
Yes, on the rest.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
And Mrs. Romeo?
Yes. With that, I would like to congratulate Dr. Belzer. If you'd like to speak. Congrats. Welcome.
I don't want to take up much of your time, but I wanted to thank you for this opportunity, the board and the district leadership. And I look forward to working with everyone at West Milford to help students and staff succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you attended tonight to see our math scores and you have a full grasp of what we're looking at, and I hope you're creating some action plans while you're sitting there. Good luck, thank you very much, and congratulations.
All
Great. 6. Mr. Greeno, Operations.
I'd like to move items 1 through 5 under Operations and Finance.
Questions and comments? Yes, Mrs. Dwyer.
On number 5, it looks like we're making a donation of older, I guess, computers. Has there been any attempt to sell these? We used to have, I remember we used to sell old equipment. And it brought in a little money for us.
I think this stuff that we have here is all pretty obsolete, and we're getting rid of that stuff. I don't think this stuff has any value. It's pretty old.
And we can't use it for anything else.
No.
If I'm right, Upcycle LLC is a company where they take students with autism and other disabilities, and it becomes life skills for them. So it's not just giving it to a company that's not, it's just a company. It's going to help those that are needing life skills and work skills.
Thank you for sharing that, Ms. O'Brien. Any other questions or comments? Seeing as none, roll call, please.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Rocano?
Yes.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Seidowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
And Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
I'd like to move item number 6 under Operations and Finance.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Guarino?
Abstain?
Mrs. Rocano?
Yes.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Seidowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Abstain.
Mrs. Romeo?
Abstain.
I'd like to move items 7 through 10 under Operations and Finance.
Second.
Questions and comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Rocano?
Yes.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Seidowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
And Mrs. Romeo?
Yes. Mr. Seidowitz, policy.
I'd like to move items 1 through 19 under policy.
Second.
Questions or comments on policy? We move to roll call, Mr. Schultz.
Mr. Seidowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Rocano?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes. Negotiations, Mrs. O'Brien.
I'd like to move item 1 under negotiations.
Second. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mrs. Romeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Rocano?
Yes.
Mr. Seidowitz? Mr. Lippy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lockwood?
Yes.
Mr. Guarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Dyke?
Yes.
And now to committee reports and liaisons, Parks and Rec.
We had our September Parks and Rec committee meeting almost a month ago. So I got an update from Dan Kojaki. The two things he wanted me to speak about tonight were that both travel and rec basketball registrations are open. And at the beginning of November, there will be a limited number of those veteran flags you see around town still available for sale. But there's still a limited number of poles left, so there's a limited number of flags that can go up. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in a flag.
Thank you. Safety, Mrs. Dwyer and Mrs. O'Brien.
We haven't had a meeting, nothing's been scheduled yet.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent's roundtable.
One of the things we actually spoke about at last month's superintendent roundtable is actually moving the dates of the roundtable in the new year, because the update I'm about to give you is almost obsolete at this point, and our next meeting is Thursday. But a couple of the things that were brought up were, the beginning of school, there were some transportation issues. Many of them have been ironed out at this point in the year. Again, they were talking about late buses, and Dr. Fernari has sorted that out as well. They listed all of the no homework days district-wide. We talked about iReady, which we've heard about ad nauseum at this point. The one thing that they did suggest that I thought was interesting is departmental PR, a way to highlight, history department or what's happening in science or some of the elementary programs. We see a lot of athletics and arts being highlighted, but not necessarily our academics, which are also really strong in our district that maybe the public doesn't realize. So we talked about a district newsletter or even putting it on the Hometown Pride Facebook page. And that was really it for the superintendent roundtable. We do have it again this coming Thursday.
Thank you, Mr. Gemma. Passaic County School Boards as well.
So the meeting was September 26th. They talked a lot about workshop. The Manchester Regional High School Board of Education actually got a board certification, so they presented them with a plaque and honored them. The program was actually in regards to finances, and Mrs. Francisco happened to be there presenting and taking Q&A along with some other business administrators, Wayne, I believe Woodland Park. One big thing that they did talk about was the NJSBA connection. I don't know if anybody has heard about this, but they did give a flyer. They did ask if we could talk about it amongst the board, and it's through NJSBA. You can access it through your sign-in when you sign in. And I'm just going to read verbatim from the flyer what it exactly is. It's a groundbreaking member-only platform designed to connect, engage, and empower its members. The innovative digital space serves as a dynamic hub for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and networking, providing an unparalleled resource for school leaders across the state. They seem to be really big on pushing this, and you do have to sign in separate. There is a link. They did send a QR code that I can forward to everybody to make it easier so you don't have to dig it out on the web page. But once you sign in once, it links your accounts and you're good to go.
Thank you. Mr. Seidowitz, New Jersey School Boards.
Excellent plug there. I appreciate that you brought that up because that was a project that the School Boards Association has been working on for years, so I'm sure it's going to be great because most of the programs that they do are great and definitely help us as school boards. My report is thank you so much, Ms. Romeo, for bringing up our new representative, Kelly Mitchell. I'm looking forward to, I think the bigger discussion is what offerings the school boards have for school boards, and for newer members or members that don't know much about the School Boards Association, there are plenty of offerings that can be our continued education to make us stronger. On the 28th of September, there was a negotiation session for training, and that was a full-day session. And Mr. Lippy attended, I attended. On the next big item is on October 23rd to 26th is the workshop in Atlantic City. If you have signed up, you're going to have a great time. You're going to have a great learning experience and great opportunities to see what is happening around the state with other school districts. So take that networking opportunity and run with it. On that's a little far ahead. On Friday, November 17th, there is There is a training session that's a leadership conference titled Everyone Moving Forward Together, and the conference brings board members and district leaders together to develop and improve communication and relationships with each other and the educational systems they serve. So if you're interested in that, go onto the website, sign up for it, and enjoy what that's going to offer in terms of communication skills. And the last thing that I'm going to bring up is along the lines of certification that was brought up before, that boards have the opportunity to earn certifications, and it's not so much about the glory that comes with it, it's more about the threshold that it has and the ability to push ourselves as board members to better serve our community. So it's something that I'll reach out to the board with in terms of the requirements and discuss that further, but I look forward to speaking to everybody about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislative, Mrs. O'Brien and Mr. Lewis.
I'd like to bring to the board's attention the following. New Jersey lawmakers are preparing tweaks to the state's school funding formula months after inflation and a white-hot housing market spurred outsized cuts to state education aid for a third of the state's school districts. The contours of the reforms remain blurry, and lawmakers do not expect to approve the legislation until the next legislative year session, said Senator Vin Gopal, chair of the Senate Education Committee. The policy would include provisions to address categorical aids to districts, transportation, and extraordinary special education costs, which are provided independently of the state's funding formula. And the formula has not been touched since 2008. The lawmakers defray two-thirds of those costs with a one-time appropriation of nearly $103 million. The districts are expected to face even larger cuts in the coming budgetary year, when New Jersey completes the phase-out aid to overfund districts that began when New Jersey moved to fully implement its 2008 school funding formula in 2018 under legislation known widely as its bill number S2. It's unclear what changes legislators are seeking to make to the school funding formulas that will govern how much aid individual districts receive from the state, nor is it clear whether they will make other allowances, like allowing underfunded districts to exceed the 2% cap on property tax increases meant to keep districts at full funding.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Technology oversight, Mr. Drino and Mr.
Have you got anything, Pete? I don't remember the last time we had a technology meeting.
We were just talking about having a meeting recently.
I'll give the Township Board and the joint committee meeting between the Board of Education and the Township. We haven't had another meeting, we're scheduling one, and so we're still reviewing feasibility studies. We're still looking into the feasibility study. Next is West and Milford Municipal Alliance.
The Alliance meeting was on October 9th. It was discussed about the Wellness Family Festival, which was very well attended. So it was thankful for the rain. The rain helped a lot. Debbie will be meeting with Janice Garish to discuss programs through the Youth Leadership Grant. The Alliance is scheduling a fundraiser. It's going to be pickleball. There's going to be a pickleball tournament, and that's going to be on Saturday, April 13th, and the details are going to follow yet. Debbie will be attending the Passaic County 4S NJCDC to discuss resource services for our community, and she will also be at William Patterson University this Friday for the Teen Summit, which Mr. Doherty will, as the Heroes and Cool Kids, will he be attending with you? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and the kids too, okay.
The students and Mr. Doherty will be part of that as well.
Can you say that again? So is that the Passaic County Teen Summit?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then the one right before that, Mrs. Van Dyke, NJCDC.
Yeah, that was the Passaic County to discuss resources and services. Is that through a grant or something?
Basically, West Milford Parks and Rec, which is where under the West Milford Municipal Alliance falls under their jurisdiction, so to speak. An email came from Kathy Barretto, who runs the NJ4S, which is through the New Jersey CDC. Community Development Center is what CDC represents, and the acronym 4HS. There are flyers. I have some in my bag. Have to do with discussing. I actually did discuss with her and her staff services and resources pertaining to youth mental health, bullying, suicide, and substance abuse. I know Dr. Fernari you met with them, or you went to a meeting with them?
Sorry, NJ4S was a presenter at our September Superintendent's Roundtable for the county.
Okay.
And their programming is pretty amazing. And I know subsequent to that, I brought the information back, and Dr. Reza made a contact with NJ4S leadership, and so we're looking to form a partnership.
So their office is in Patterson. They have a staff of 25, so they've kind of established their programs and activities in that part of the county. And now, of course, they're reaching north. And they're actually going to do a presentation tomorrow night at Highlands Family Success Center. But they're reaching out very vigorously to various community members in different modalities. And the goal is they want to do presentations in schools. They actually would like to even come to Board of Ed meetings to do a little presentation as well. So it's all in the works. It's a very youthful, vigorous group of individuals that really are trying to make a difference, especially in the area of youth mental health and the substance abuse, suicide, and bullying. And it's all free. My favorite thing.
I also attended the Highland Success Center open house and saw many of our staff and many of our PTA and PTO presidents, representatives were there. If you haven't been to the Success Center, it's a great idea to go. They have so many resources for our community at this point in time, and they're very open to letting everybody know what's going on there and open to help. So I would highly recommend you going. They have a pantry, they have clothes, there's so many things that are needed, especially at this time in our life.
Thank you. Okay, great. CPAC, Mrs. Lockwood.
Yeah, so I'm going to start, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Ricano. I just wanted to announce the next meeting. So there's going to be a parent-caregiver meeting virtually on October 30th at 7 p.m. And then the next CPAC meeting is scheduled for November 15th, 7 p.m. at Paradise Knoll School. And now I'm going to hand it over.
Wait, before you go on, can you explain a parent-caregiver meeting? Who would go to that meeting? What does that mean?
That's just they've been having that for years. It's just where they come up with the agenda. So the parents and or caregiver meet as a group without school administrators.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was like a presentation.
Discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, and Mrs. Ricano, thank you for covering for me. I totally appreciate it.
I had the privilege of covering for Claire while she was at the Passaic County School Boards on September 26th, and I think every board member should attend a CPAC meeting if you haven't had the opportunity to do so. I gleaned so much from this meeting. I told Claire I would cover for her every month. I think maybe what made this meeting so beneficial to me was it was the introductory meeting of Dr. Reza and Ms. Perochniak. So they kind of went over like what CPAC was, who they were, what their goals were, and it was a really cool opportunity for the special education community to kind of figure out, where the programs were going. The overall theme of the evening, I would say, was communication. Special education community really wants ongoing and consistent communication from their teachers and their caseworkers, and their CSTs, and communication before their IEP meetings, so they're not going in blind. So it really was a beneficial meeting. I actually spoke to some people who were in attendance afterward, and they were really optimistic about the future of special education in West Milford. So Claire, if you ever need another person to cover for you, I'm happy to go. And again, like if anybody else has the chance to go, it was really, as someone who doesn't have a special education student, I didn't understand necessarily the struggles or the obstacles that they sometimes face. And as a board member, I feel like I need to know that. So it was a great opportunity for me to do that.
Thank you. Old business. Does anyone have any old business? Will?
Probably earlier in 2023, there was the possibility of getting an energy audit for our ESIP projects, and I know that the state is not very good at following through on items. And I was just hoping that I could bring it up again to maybe prod the Department of Energy to provide that audit, if that's possible. And that's my own business.
I'm sorry. Mrs. Roman? Yes. Didn't we do an energy audit last year?
I don't know.
I know we did have one for the ESIP. It was an audit to make sure we were hitting the savings as part of the ESIP, so that was part of it. And they confirmed as part of their audit that we were hitting the savings that they promised us.
Oh, okay.
So that was the audit we had done last year.
So.
Well, hot dog.
Yeah. Is that we were asking for, or you're asking for something else?
Yeah, okay.
But Billy, don't they have to do that, don't we have to do that now because of the loan, the grant?
Which grant?
For
the ESIP?
To make sure that we are getting that money every year.
They give you that option every year. You don't have to do it. It's offered from the ESIP. Once you don't do it, you're saying you're having the savings, you're pleased with the way things are going, and then you don't have to do it anymore.
I think. So then Will is right, we should do it again this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we pay for it since we've done it here?
Yeah, there's a cost incurred. I can talk to Mr. Kelly about it.
Can you look at that and put that on the agenda for next month's committee meeting?
Sure.
And then we'll discuss it there?
Because we need to see if it's covering.
Yeah, that's good. Teamwork, thank you. Any other old business?
Move to close old business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
New business? Yes, Mrs. O'Brien.
It was just mentioned shortly, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank those who came out from the education community to our open house at Highlands Family Success Center for public's information as well as yours. If you don't know, I am a case manager through CFR, Center for Family Resources, which is Highlands Family Success Center, is also falls under the auspices of Center for Family Resources. And it was mind-blowing because the people who came really did not know what we are about, what we do. It's like a gem that's hidden in plain sight is what I call it. This is my second year working there, and it's a phenomenal place. It's open, it's free for the community. It is not necessarily just for families, and it doesn't mean you have to live in West Milford or Passaic County for that matter. And what we also do is we do kind of, I don't know if the word would be outreach, but we support families, those who are homeless, those who, lost things in a fire, those who need assistance. And we collaboratively work in helping families with needs and for people of all ages. And it was, like Mrs. Van Dyke said, and she attended, it was just so nice. And Mr. Novak came out as well, and I appreciate that he took the time out and everybody's time, that they came out and spent, more than an hour, and I did my little too long of a spiel, so to speak, but it was well received. And we also put up a board, and we asked them for suggestions as to what they would like to see at our center. And that kind of ties in with what I was asking Mr. Novak about, maybe working with Highlands and helping out families with helping their children become better students. I mean, we're not there to educate, but we're there to support. And I think it's a collaboration, and we don't care if you come in and you're penniless or you got $1 gazillion. We're there to help you out. We're there to support, and we do programs for kids and adults and seniors. And we do a lot of stuff, and it behooves me that it's not as, in my opinion, this is Debbie O'Brien, her opinion only, it's not well attended as I think it should be. But we do like science nights, we do so many things that tie in with curriculum.
You still do the homework help and those types of programs?
Well, we can. You would have to talk to Mrs. Saraceni on that one. I am a teacher. I do have a teaching certification. I was one of the homework helper. So, and if that is offered, there will be plenty of people to help with that. And again, everything's free of charge. So you don't have to worry about any cost factors.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Dwyer.
This is not a very thoughtful question, but has anybody heard anything about the tattoo for this year? Or is there going to be a tattoo?
Yes.
So it was just sent out. Yes, yeah, I can forward you the flyer.
It's a program that everyone should see. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a band. We're not getting matching tattoos on our skin. It's a program of music at the West Milford High School.
You're not going to get inked.
And the tickets are on sale. Tickets are on sale.
The price is
I actually thought Mrs. Dwyer was talking about me getting another tattoo. I'm like, what?
Any other new business?
I move to close new business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All public comment? All speakers will have 5 minutes to speak until a period of 30 minutes transpires.
We waived the first.
I have to do a second one to see if there's anyone else that wants to speak publicly, but we did have that speaker speak in the first. Thank you, guys. So before speaking, you will please state your name, group affiliation, and address for the record. Members of the public who have requested to speak prior to the meeting will be recognized by the chair first. After speaking, all speakers are asked to sign the register provided and give their full name, group affiliation, and their address. All statements should be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address a question to a board member individually. All speakers are expected to have read the statement within the agenda regarding the regulations concerning public comments. Members of the public are reminded that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Do I have anyone that would like to speak publicly?
Move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and Mrs. Lockwood, executive session.
So at 10:03 PM, I make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations, HIBs, and matters of attorney-client privilege. The executive session minutes will not be released until such time as the privilege or confidentiality is no longer applicable. The board will be in executive session for approximately 30 minutes and no action will be taken. So,
Terry? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So just so the public knows, we will adjourn from our executive session meeting. Have a great night. Thank you.